Why do men always give you the least when you provide them with the most security? And isn't it even crazier that when you do finally stop providing them with that same security, all of a sudden he's super obsessed with you and beating down your door? Well, what if I told you I can help you make sense of this crazy and confusing concept and also help you use it to your advantage? Which is why on today's live show, we're going to be discussing why men fall in love with uncertainty. That way, you can have the guy that you actually want as obsessed with you as the guys who are weird and strange and in your DMs, okay? Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here or present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. So, point number one, what you have to understand about men is we're very strange, okay? So let's write this out for you. So we'll put a start here. And I'm gonna draw a little bit of a funnel, okay? Well, a funnel, like, you'll see what I mean, okay? So let's imagine a scenario. Point number one is men don't know. Now, what am I specifically referring to when I say men don't know? I mean, men don't know what they actually want. They know how to communicate to you what makes their life easier. And I'm going to give you a perfect example of that. Let's say a guy says to you, look, I would love for you to be available to me 24/7. I would love a girl who is down for anything. Have you ever heard in the chat, say yes or no, if you've ever heard a guy say to you, I love a girl who will be down for anything, okay? He says, I'd love for you to be available all the time, that I can call on you, we can hang out anytime, any day, no matter what, no matter how much notice I give you, right? Then, when you're actually available to him all the time, right, you become available, then something very interesting happens, right? Because as you become 24/7 available as he asked you to become and as he said that he wanted, now you create a scenario in which there's no pressure, right? So you're thinking, okay, well, I'm giving him what he asked for. Isn't that a good thing, Tomisin? Because when men ask for something, they communicate something, I give it to him, everyone's happy. Well, actually, no. Because even though he asked for this, he didn't ask for it because he actually wants it in terms of making a better relationship. He asked you for it because it makes his life easier. And it shows up because when you get to a place where there's no pressure, because you're available all the time, you want to know what he does? Eventually, he stops planning, right? He stops planning because why would he need to plan? Why would he need to schedule? Because you're always available whenever he will call on you. And so you end up in a scenario in which now you have no plans ever, and now you end up having also no dates. Because in order to have a date, you have to be able to plan and schedule. You have to take time off work or time away from whatever it is that you were doing, and he has to take time away. And then you guys have to book a reservation at for a picnic, or book a reservation at a dinner place, or book a reservation at a tennis court, wherever you guys are gonna go for this date, right? There has to be time booked out and allocated to the thing you guys are looking forward to doing. But the problem is, if there's never any plan, if there's never any schedule, it's gonna be impossible for you to know what is going on and how to get ready, and it's also gonna be impossible for him to organize and schedule his life. So you want to know what ends up happening when you capitulate to his desire of wanting you to be 24/7 available. Instead of you getting to see him in the ways that you would like to see him by getting dates from him and him showing forth effort in this relationship, you get no plans. And subsequently, you get no dates. And so how do you guys end up hanging out 24/7 whenever you are actually available? You end up either sitting in the car, right? He's just driving around. You guys are going to the same place, driving around, or you end up going to his place, or he ends up coming to yours, depending on, whose place it is that you guys like to frequent at. Now, and the thing that I'm trying to help you realize is you might think men know what they want to the point that when they ask for it, that you just give it to them and everything will work out. But what I want you to understand, especially as it relates to men falling in love with uncertainty, they will never ask you for uncertainty, because they don't actually understand that that's what they truly want and they truly desire if they're going to build a long-term serious relationship with you, okay? So let me help you kind of structure your brain, because I know you're thinking, well, if men want uncertainty, then why don't they ask for that? Because they don't actually know what they want. And they don't know how to communicate what they want as it relates to what is best for a long-term serious relationship. They know how to communicate what they want as it relates to what makes his life easier. Because no pressure makes his life very easy, okay? No plans makes his life very easy. No dates and no scheduling makes his life very easy, but it doesn't lead to a successful relationship. You don't get what you want, you're unhappy, and then if you're unhappy, then the relationship is unhappy, everything is going to poo-poo, okay? Let's hop into our second point here. Very, 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 very important, okay? Don't underestimate the men. They don't know what they actually want. All right. Point number 2 here. Okay. We're going to really get into the nitty gritty here. So here's the thing I want you to take notice of. And we're going to draw out a chart so that we can all be on the same page. All right. And then we'll have your response. Okay. Now, I'm going to try and illustrate to you through charting it out what it looks like when men will desire something, they'll want something, versus how they'll respond to that same thing, because sometimes we don't realize there's a difference here. So let's use a couple of different examples. We'll start off with, let's say he has a desire for you to text 24/7. He wants you to text him, okay? All the time. No matter what you're doing, no matter where you are, he always wants to text at least every 5 minutes, right? Sounds good. Now, how does he respond to you actually giving in to that desire of his, that you text him 24/7? All of a sudden, he's going to text you less. And you might be thinking, well, no, Tomisin, if I text him all the time and I text him 24/7, he's going to be texting me back just as quick, because he's asking me to do that because he likes to text really quick and he likes to respond really quick. But you have to understand, whenever there is no space for someone else to, push forward towards you, then the only option, the only road, the only direction is for him to take a couple of steps back. So you might get him texting you back 24/7 for a little bit, and you might get him matching that same energy that he's been asking you for. But at some point of you texting him 24/7 all the time, he will eventually start to text you a little bit less. And it doesn't have to be all at once. It might start by going from every 5 minutes a response to every 7 minutes, and then every 10 minutes. And then one day he takes 3 hours. And then one whole day goes by and he doesn't even send you a message. But very quickly, you get yourself into a scenario where you give in to what he wants and you give in to what he's asking for. And then all of a sudden, you're getting a response that you don't want and that you don't desire, okay? Let's make another example, right? And we can even make it the one that we kind of just talked about, right? Being available. Oops. Don't want my board to become all messy here, okay? Being available 24/7, right? You end up giving in to his desire to be down for whatever, whenever, whether it's 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., whether you have work the next day, whether he wants to see you right now in the next 5 minutes, you don't even have your makeup ready, you haven't even taken a shower, right? And what do you get in response? You get no dates. Isn't that crazy? Because you have to think about this, right? When you actually give in to being available 24/7, what's the point of putting in real effort in planning and scheduling? There is none. Because no matter whether he does planning or scheduling or whether he doesn't, you will still be available to him, okay? We can even write another one here, right? Where guys will ask for things, oh, I don't want no pressure. Pressure is bad, right? He doesn't want no pressure from you. And when he asks for no pressure, oh, I don't want to put labels on it. I don't want us to think too far into the future. We don't have to be talking about things we're not even there yet. What ends up happening, right, in your relationship with him, there is no direction, right? And you might think, okay, well, I'm giving in to what he says he wants because he doesn't want the pressure, because he doesn't want to think about it, because he just wants to be in the moment. He wants to be present with me. And it sounds so magical and fantastical. However, that same concept will then apply 6 months down the line, 8 months down the line, and you'll realize you've been a year with this guy and you're still giving in to his desire to have no pressure. But now you're wondering, wait a second. We've been here for a year and I've been giving you this no pressure thing like you said that you wanted, but in your response to receiving no pressure from me, now there's no direction of our relationship. And we're still kind of basically in the same place we were before, but now I'm even more confused because I don't know why we're spending so much time together and being so consistent in terms of the way that we're kind of dating, but also kind of not dating. And I don't know where we're going from here, right? So the reason I say all of this is because I want you to take notice of what men will say they want and then how they will respond to those things. Vice versa, let's take each and every one of these scenarios and give them in the opposite sense. So if you were to text a guy 24/7, that was his desire. Let's say instead you stop texting him 24/7, and even when he asks you to text him more, you say, oh, okay, I hear you, makes sense, and you don't actually do it. What is his response gonna be? Well, he actually has two options. Either he can choose to text you less and text you as often as you're not texting him, number one, or he can choose to say, well, it's giving me a little bit of anxiety that you're not texting me as much, so I'm gonna ask for you to text me more. And when you do finally message me, I'm going to be paying more attention to each one of your messages, because now I'm thinking, why is she not texting me? What is she doing with all of her time? See, this is really good because we're going to talk about something in a little bit called brain space. All of this wondering that he's doing in the time that you're not around or the time that you're not messaging him. Now he's thinking, okay, what is she doing with this time? How is she spending it? Why is she not messaging me? What, like, all of this thought power going into you actually makes you more interesting, okay? Now, let's look at being available 24/7. Let's say you actually don't have time in your day to be available whenever he needs to. And if you have work or if you're tired, you want to go to bed, you want to hang out with friends, you do that and you're like, look, I can't be hanging out with you, the day of. I can't even hang out with you. Oh, you messaged me the night before and say, let's hang out the next day. I have lots of stuff that I need to do. And you're not available 24/7. Well, now he's forced to, if he's going to be with you and he's going to see you, the only way he's going to be able to see you is by actually planning and scheduling with you. Subsequently, you end up getting more dates because if a man's going to be in your life and you're not going to be available to him 24/7, his response in turn has to be to plan and schedule. Do you see how uncertainty can actually create a scenario in which you get the response that you desire? Okay. Now we go to no pressure, right? It sounds good in theory for men to be like, oh, I'm in a situation where there's no pressure. We don't have to think about the future, all that good stuff. But if, let's say, you do say, hey, look, I have a sense of urgency here. And if you don't have direction, I'm not going to beg you to have direction for our relationship. I'm just not going to talk to you. I'm not going to see you. I'm not going to spend or waste time with you. Now you've given him really only one choice as it relates to being with you, right? You've given him one choice from the standpoint that if he wants to get access to you, the only way to do that is to provide you with direction of what he wants to do here in this relationship, okay? And this is what I want you to understand about uncertainty. Uncertainty doesn't have to be a game, okay? Uncertainty is just about understanding. Forget what the men actually say that they want, because most of the time they're going to say that they want things that will make their life easier. How do I focus on giving a man things that he will actually respond to in a positive sense that will benefit me and benefit the future of a relationship with me? Because the reality of it is, even though men won't say that they want uncertainty, when they finally respond to it in the way that works for you, then you guys can actually have a serious long-term relationship. And I'll show you more about that in our next couple of points, okay? So let's hop into point number 3. You guys still with me? Still paying attention? You're still here? Okay. If you're following me so far, say, I'm following. Making sure you guys still paying attention, okay? Point number 3. Alrighty. Alrighty, chat. Point number 3. We'll do this. So, you guys know, my drawing ain't that good. But we're going to do it like this. All right. Part of people. So we'll draw your car over here. Yeah, there we go. There's your car. Oh, yeah. What is that, a G-Wagon? We'll call that a G-Wagon. There we go. Yeah, your car is amazing. Okay, so let's think of it like this, right? Your car, I should put this here. Your car is going in this direction, okay? Towards the destination of security. I shouldn't even say your car. This car actually, in this scenario, represents the man, okay? So point number 3 is about security. What I want to explain to you about security is help you understand how men, when they're moving towards a goal, if you can find out how to motivate them, how to put gas in them, you can get to that goal, which will subsequently help you in terms of getting what you want in your relationship with him, okay? Let me explain this. So just like any regular car, right? We're imagining this man is the car. Just like in any car, in order for the car to actually go, it needs to have fuel. And in this case, right, what your fuel is going to be, it is, in this scenario, your fuel is going to be actually uncertainty, right? The reason that your fuel is going to be uncertainty is because I want you to think of it like this. If the destination for a man is to have security in his relationship with you, meaning that he knows where he stands with you, he knows that you're choosing him as well, he knows that you want him as well, he knows that you're just as interested in him as he is in you and in building this relationship, right? He's trying to get to a place where he's more secure in that, right? He wants to know you like him just as much as he likes you, and you're both investing your time here. If he's trying to get to that destination, you have to actually strategically think to yourself, the gas, the fuel of getting to that destination, the motivation in getting to that destination has to be uncertainty. Because if it's not, why would he have a desire to get here? Okay? So this is what I want you to kind of think about, right? Because I'm going to talk about some other things and emotions in the next couple of points, but I want you to understand, even though those emotions might seem negative to you, in order for men to properly be motivated to get to a particular destination, especially one of security, they need uncertainty to fuel that. And that is a good thing, because in the process of him trying to obtain more security from you, even though he needs uncertainty to be able to get there, when he finally gets there, it'll be because he has taken action for you and worked for you, right? We'll put action here. Action is the only way he gets to progress forward. And as he progresses forward and does more things for you, then he shows you that he's really serious. He puts forth more effort. He also has more investment, and everything works how it's supposed to work. Okay, let's hop into our next point. Okay, I wanted that to be a prerequisite so we can understand each other. Don't think of it as a bad thing. Can be good too, can be good. Let's go through this. All right. Now, I'm gonna ask you guys a question, so I want you to be paying attention, okay? I want you here paying attention. Oh, wow, this is really bad. Okay, let's see if we can get something out of this here. All righty, there we go here, like that. All right, there we go. Yeah. Okay, and then we'll do this like this. So we're all on the same page. We'll just do a little. Okay. You guys are gonna laugh when you see this. Okay, it's all good. It's okay. This is not art class. So let me ask you all a question so that we're all on the same page here. I'm laughing because it's kind of funny. Point number 4 is about problem solving. Now I'm going to give you a question. that's supposed to be an analogy to what I'm trying to discuss here, okay? So let's imagine our first scenario. There's two scenarios. You're gonna come over to my house, okay? Lots of fun we're gonna have at my house. But there are two things that we can do at my house, and I want you to answer me which one you would spend more time thinking about, focusing on, and putting energy towards, okay? Point number one, or I should say, thing number one that we can do at my house. You can come over, and there's a big, large maze in my backyard that I haven't been able to figure out, okay? And I know for a fact, we both know for a fact, at the center of this maze, there is $1 million. And I say to you, hey, me and you, if we go through this and we can figure out how to get to the middle of this maze, I've never been able to figure it out by myself. But if we can do this on just between the two of us, I'll split the money with you, the $1 million with you, if we can get to the center of this maze. Or, number two, when you come over to my house, there's a free puzzle that's already done that we can look at and see and spectate how it's already finished. Yeah. So tell me, which one do you think would be more interesting to you? Which one do you think you would spend more time on? The puzzle, which is already done, or the maze, which at the center of it, there's a hefty $1 million that we could probably split at the end of the puzzle. Now, I know it's kind of a funny question, but I want to ask it all to you so that we can get to a very, very important point, okay? Someone says the maze and the money, right? Now, also, in the process of you picking which one, I see a lot of people saying the money and the maze. I also want you to tell me, why are you choosing the maze? Why would you spend more energy and focus on the maze? Why not on the puzzle? Why can't we just sit there and stare at the puzzle? Why isn't that fun? Okay, what's wrong with that? What's the problem with that? Staring at a puzzle's fun. It's like looking at a picture, okay? Someone says because there's a reward. Potential to get 1 million. It's more challenging. Bigger reward. I love puzzles. Someone says maze for the prize, higher reward. Okay, greater reward, better outcome. Okay, engage with each other, right? Okay, motivation. The puzzle is done and boring. Okay, the reason I asked that question is because I want you to take notice how this can be the exact same thing in your relationship with men, and how men are very similar to the way that you just process this information. They will process relationships with you the same way. When you provide men with uncertainty by not talking to them all the time, by not being available to them 24/7, right? Even though I know it means that you're not going to see them all the time and you're not going to talk to them all the time, right? And you're not going to capitulate to everything that they need. Also, by setting boundaries, you can create uncertainty because he's like, well, I don't know if she likes me because she's not willing to do everything that I want her to do. All of these types of things, right, create a scenario in which men have to go into problem-solving mode. Because men then have to ask themselves, okay, if I'm feeling like she's not as interested in me as I would like her to be in order to get to my destination of security, then I need to problem solve and figure out how do I get to that destination. Because at the center of that destination, there is a reward that's worth even more than $1 million, which is getting her and getting access to her and being in a relationship with her. So you see how you're creating a scenario that's much more intriguing, and you're making yourself the same you, okay, that you were before you started this process. You're making yourself so much more interesting, because solving problems, and especially when the problem solving process will have a destination of a reward at the end, is so much more interesting than meeting someone who is like an already solved puzzle. See, you might have made the mistake in your relationships before in being like an already solved puzzle. Because when a guy meets you on that very first date, you're immediately thinking about how to do everything he wants, exactly how he wants it, right? And tell him everything about you, make sure there's no secrets, make sure you come out with before he has even asked you a single question, you're already being such an open book to the point where he doesn't have to do any guessing. Right? It's not very fun to hear someone tell you exactly how they feel, exactly what they want, exactly what they're thinking, because even though it's very clear and straightforward and people will say they love that, the reality of it is it's so uninteresting and it's so very, very, very boring. The same way it would be extremely boring to look and stare at an already solved puzzle. What's the point? I don't have to think about it. It's not going to take any more of my brain space away, and it's not going to be very interesting to me. It's already done, it's already solved, and I know what it is. Okay, let's hop into our fifth point. Very, very, very important. Ooh, I love this point. This is actually one of my favorite points that I don't want you guys to miss. Okay, please don't miss this point. Please don't miss this point. Please Don't miss this point. Please, please. Okay. All right. This is one of my, I guess we could say, it scares me a little. And I'll tell you why it scares me a little. So we'll draw it like this. It's going to look kind of like a football field goal post, but it is not that. All right. We'll do this like that. Damn, how do I guess we can do this. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Like that, like that. Okay. Okay. Now, this is going to bother me, so I have to fix it. I want you guys to see something very, very important. This is probably going to be, this is like my most impactful point of the show. Choice. Point number 5. Choice is such an important part of why uncertainty works and why men love it. When you create a scenario in which a man is uncertain with you, he does not feel complete security like, oh, he already has you in the palm of his hand and you're willing to do absolutely everything for him before he's ever earned it. You create a scenario in which he must problem solve to get more answers and get to the destination of security in this relationship with you. Now, because he's had to problem solve in order to gain more security in this relationship and had to take more action in this relationship by problem solving and by figuring it out how to get closer to your heart, how to get more access to you, he's made a choice here. And choices are so important for men in your relationships with them. See, some of you have made the mistake of being or allowing yourself, this is a horrible mistake, to be in a relationship with a man who didn't actually choose you. You might end up in a situation with a man who fell into you. Now, what does falling into someone look like? Because I know some of you are like, what is that actually? Is that like falling in love? No. What I mean by falling into you is the idea that you end up in a situation where, let's say you and a guy just start spending time together. And you spend one day together, you like each other's company, you spend another day together, and then all of a sudden you guys are just casually hanging out all the time. Then as you casually start hanging out, you like his vibe, he likes yours a little bit, now you guys casually start sleeping together. Now you're hanging out and sleeping together on a regular basis. Then at a certain point, you start asking yourself a couple of questions. Well, he hasn't said that he wants to date me. He hasn't said that he wants a relationship. But now that I'm sleeping with him and I'm hanging out with him all the time, I have some expectations here. So now you start approaching him with your expectations. As you start approaching him with your expectations, he's like, well, yeah, it makes sense. I do kind of like sleeping with you. And yeah, it makes sense. I do kind of like spending time with you. So I guess I don't want to be without being able to sleep with you and spending time with you. And I don't want to be lonely. So we'll do a thing where I guess, yeah, like you said, I guess we can date. Yeah, for sure. Sure. That's fine. Whatever. This is a problem though, because he didn't actually choose you. He kind of fell into a situation with you. And because he didn't really want to end it, or for some men, I'll be honest with you, didn't have the balls to end it or tell you how he really feels, he just goes along with it. And he goes along with what you really wanted instead of what he really wanted. So the reason I say this is because uncertainty creates a scenario in which the only way for him to access you is through choice, right? Is through choosing him because he knows he has a desire for you and he knows that he wants you. The reason I'm making this such an important point is because I know that when I tell you men fall in love with uncertainty, the first thing you're thinking is, Tomisin, you're a liar, you're lying to me. Because when I use these tactics of not texting that man 24/7, not being available to him 24/7, telling him no, setting boundaries and all that other stuff you be talking about, it's poo-poo. Because when I do that, that man shows me no interest. That man, he don't ask me out. That man, he don't text me. He don't do nothing with me. Yes, because men fall in love with uncertainty when they actually have a desire to be with you. It's not about men falling in love with uncertainty as a way to take them from having no interest in you to all of a sudden having interest in you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what we're trying to set up for you is not that you will pick out a man and then say, I want that man, and I'm going to use these strategies to get that man, even though he's shown me no interest, even though he's never chosen me, even though he's never communicated having a desire to be with me in a relationship with me. I want that man specifically, so it's got to be that man. No. What we want is we want a situation for you. We want, as we're going to refer to in a little bit, a dynamic for you that works, that you can thrive in. And we're going to plug and play with whichever man is going to fit that criteria. Okay? I'm going to explain that more in a little bit, but it's such an important part of what we're doing here. We want you with a man that chooses you, not a man that falls into you. Uncertainty creates a scenario in which he has to solve problems and take action. And subsequently, because he's taking action for you, he's making a choice to be with you and build with you because he wants you. Okay? Let's hop into point number 5 here. I'll be drawing. I should really take a drawing class. Maybe it would help me here. Anyone know how to draw? Anyone an artist in the chat? Maybe help me with my drawing skills, okay? Point number 6 here, all right? I am gonna give you another scenario and I want you to connect this. So we're gonna have a scenario of 2 different options and I want you paying attention because I want you to make a very important connection here, okay? So we're gonna have two, we'll say papers. Actually, I'll do it like this. So we're gonna have paper 1, and then we're gonna have paper 2. You in class, for real. Paper 2, okay? Now, I'm gonna ask you guys some questions here. So please be paying attention. I need you to give me a response here. So there are 2 papers here. And point number 6 is anxiety. In these 2 papers here that you have a choice in between, I want you to tell me which paper is going to give you more anxiety. Paper number 1, let's say I'm your teacher and I say this paper that you have to do is due at the end of the week, okay? So it's Monday today. By the time we get to Friday, this paper is due. That's paper number 1. Paper number 2 that I want you to do as an assignment is due at the end of the year, okay? Now, I want you to communicate with me. Which paper is going to give you more anxiety? Paper number 1, that's due at the end of the week, or paper number 2, that's due at the end of the year. Everyone must participate because we're going to get to a very, very important point here. And I want us to all be on the same page, okay? Paper number 1, the end of the week one, I see a lot of people saying. I see some people say paper number 2. I see some people saying the one that's the end of the year. Okay, tell me in the chat. For those of you, whichever paper you do choose, tell me why that paper is the one that gives you more anxiety, okay? Just, I want us to be all on the same page, okay? So if you pick paper number 1, tell me why it gives you more anxiety. And if you pick paper number 2, tell me why it gives you more anxiety, okay? I want us all to participate so we can get to a very important point here, okay? I see time sensitive, okay, urgency, short of time. Deadline's closer, shorter time. It's the soonest, okay? No time to prep, urgency, okay? It's due a lot sooner, okay? Due sooner, I have to focus more. I have 51 weeks to complete number 2. Okay, the reason I asked this question is because I want you to see how anxiety is actually very connected to urgency and vice versa. See, a lot of you are choosing paper number 1 and saying your reason for choosing paper number 1 is because you have more urgency here. So I'll even write it down, right? There's more urgency there and less urgency as it relates to paper number 2 because you just have more time to procrastinate it, okay? Now, I want to make a very important connection for you as it relates to your dating life and how men will approach relationships as well. See, anxiety seems like a bad emotion to give people, right? Why would I want to be giving people that I love and I care about anxiety? Why would I want to be giving a guy that I date anxiety? Thompson, that's a negative emotion. But I want you to see how closely connected anxiety is with a sense of urgency, and how closely connected a sense of urgency can create anxiety. But in your relationships as well, that subsequently means when you're giving a man anxiety, you can also give him a sense of urgency. And what spawns, I want you to be thinking about this, what spawns from the emotion of urgency in your dating and talking stages? A man will then be forced to take action because he thinks it's urgent to take action in order to get to his desired outcome. If you have a paper due at the end of the week, even though you don't feel like it, even though you might feel lazy, even though you might have other things going on, you will make time to get this paper done. When men have a sense of urgency with you because they have anxiety related to you, because they're uncertain with you, now all of a sudden they're taking action towards making this relationship work, towards showing you that they are the man that you are looking for, towards showing you that they can do things for you, towards going above and beyond in the relationship. And subsequently, from what you would consider to be a negative emotion, you've actually gotten a lot of positive things. Do you see how that kind of works in the opposite effect that you would think it would work? And so the reason I'm pointing this out to you is because sometimes you'll date men and you'll actually be thinking the opposite. You'll be thinking, how can I give the guy that I like the absolute least amount of anxiety that I possibly can? But we just finished breaking it down. When you give a guy the least amount of anxiety, he's subsequently also going to have the least amount of urgency towards you and towards dating you. Because you'll end up like paper number 2 that's due at the end of the year. You're not a hot commodity. All the guys aren't on a prowl for you. It's not easy to lose access to you because of how many other men want to date you. You'll be here today. You'll be here tomorrow. You'll be here next year. Whenever he wants to hang out, you'll hang out. There's nothing to really think about. There's nothing to really focus on. There's nothing to be urgent about. And subsequently, the men will treat you like a paper due at the end of the year. And they'll procrastinate you. And procrastinate you and procrastinate you and procrastinate you. So the reason I say that is don't be thinking about going into your dating or talking stages and easing guys' anxiety, because they will ask you for that. They will ask you to text them more when they see that you're texting them less. They will ask you to be more available when your schedule is very tight and he has to plan 3-4 days in advance. They will ask you to do things to create a sense of less urgency and to give them less anxiety. Don't listen to them, okay? If you want them to take you seriously and you want them to date you and you want this to be a nice long-term relationship, they need to have a sense of anxiety, to have a sense of urgency, to begin taking action. That's part of the reason why you have a lot of men who are what we call pen pals with you, right? They don't have no sense of urgency. So they just text you with no end goal in mind, right? We don't want that for you. Let's hop into our point number 7. All righty. Okay. I got lots of energy today, chat. I could do 2 shows. I'm bouncing off the walls today. All right. Let's hop into our 7th point. 7. All right. And I want you to, okay. You guys know I can't draw, okay? So we're not going to judge my drawing because we got to figure this out one way or another, okay? So let's do this together. We're going to get through this together. So let's imagine here. You got a pot, okay? And we'll just, I'm not gonna try it. I'm not gonna try it. So in the pot here, you got your macaroni. In this other pot, how do you even draw it? We're just gonna say cheese. Okay, this pot has cheese in it, right? Now, the reason I want to point this out is because I want us to be thinking about something very important, okay, which is dynamics. Point number 7 is dynamic. Now, let's use an analogy with macaroni and cheese. When you're making macaroni and cheese, what's the process of making your macaroni and cheese, right? You boil the macaroni in a separate pot, okay? You get it all prepared and get it to the right, tenderness for the macaroni. And then you put your cheese in a separate pot, or if you're using Kraft Dinner, you prepare it in a separate, or whatever, okay? And you prepare your cheese. Let's just say you're making homemade macaroni and cheese, and you're preparing your cheese in a separate pot, okay? And you get your cheese to a particular temperature, to a particular consistency, and you get your macaroni to a particular consistency. And then once you do that, you combine them both and you make your beautiful macaroni and cheese. And for some of you advanced people, you put it in the oven, you do a bunch of stuff to it, you're amazing, okay? The reason I'm giving you this analogy as an example is because I want to ask you a question. Why don't we just, cold macaroni, hard macaroni, and cold unprocessed cheese, just put them all together, put them in a pot, put some water in there, and process the macaroni while we're processing the cheese? Why don't we do it like that? I mean, we got to put them both on fire. We got to apply heat to both of them. Why doesn't it just work where we can just combine it in whatever order we want, however we want to do it, and make it the same way, okay? And make it a little bit faster with less pots, right? I seen someone say it there, because there's a process in order to make it work, right? There's a process in which you must do one thing, then do the other thing, and then when you combine them, everything works how it's supposed to work. You're creating the right dynamic by following the right steps beforehand. So let me connect this back to your relationships here, right? And with men falling in love with uncertainty. Remember I said men fall in love with uncertainty because as they're uncertain, you create anxiety. That anxiety is also going to create a sense of urgency. They're going to end up taking action for you. And because they're trying to solve that uncertainty and get to a place of security, then when they get to a place of security, you've now created a dynamic that is ideal for you to thrive in your feminine energy. The reason I'm saying that is because, remember, I said earlier, I don't want you thinking about one particular guy and how to use this practice to get one particular guy. Because if he doesn't have real interest in you, giving him uncertainty is not going to generate the right response. What you want to be thinking about is having the right dynamic for yourself. That any man that you're going to be in a relationship with, this will work on. Because once you take these proper steps, you'll create a scenario in which that man chooses you. Once he chooses you, then you can sit back and relax. And you can be in your feminine energy because you won't have to scream, you won't have to yell, you won't have to beg him to do simple things for you. All you'll have to do is say, this makes me happy, and these things that you do or you say make me unhappy. Because he has interest in you, because he has a desire to be with you, because he has chosen you. Now he says, if these things make you unhappy, I make an adjustment and I do less of those things. If these things make you happy, I continue to do those things because I want you to be happy. So the reason I'm giving you the mac and cheese example is because I want you to understand how doing some things first will create a scenario and an environment in which now, when you combine them, you're in the right place, right? You're not just going to throw the mac and the cheese together and just do it all at once. You're going to do one first. You're going to process the other. Then when you combine them, now you have the right dynamic of mac and cheese. Do you understand? The same way in your relationships, when you take care of uncertainty, and you don't ever forget that anxiety is good because it generates a good response from men who have interest in you. Now you get the dynamic that you're looking for, that you can thrive in. Because you won't be in your feminine energy when you're with a guy in a dynamic in which you're forcing him to be in this relationship because you want this and he has never chosen you, right? Subsequently, if you feel the need to continuously alleviate his anxiety because you're scared he won't be interested in you, that he'll stop talking to you, that he'll stop hanging out with you, then you're going to put yourself in the opposite dynamic, the wrong dynamic, the dynamic that's going to bring out your masculine energy because you're going to feel the need to do more things and take more action just to keep the relationship together. Do you understand? Do you understand? Okay. Let's hop into our point number 8 here. I had 8 points today. 8 points. We're very detailed. We doing it like this here, okay? Very detailed mind I am for you. That's how much I love you, okay? Let's hop into our 8th point. 8 point. Brain space. Okay. Hope you're all paying attention. I want you guys thinking about this. This one, I'm going to kind of, oh boy, I can't draw a brain for my life. Boy, yeah, all right. Take me to art class. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Okay, we'll do it like this. Brain one. So, what I want us to think about, okay? Brain space is point number one. See, this is the thing that you have to come to the realization of, right? I know it's going to feel very gamey, but the reality of it is you will be so much more interesting and intriguing to people when you can take up more brain space in their mind, okay? Let's say me and you are on a date, okay? Very romantic. I'm sitting there, I'm wearing something, okay? I probably wear something beige. I like beige, okay? I'm wearing a beige outfit. I look great. You're sitting there on this date with me. You're wearing your nicest outfit, your tightest pair of jeans. Your ass looks amazing, okay? You're 10 out of 10, all right? Now, let's imagine a scenario in which we sit down on this date and I tell you, right? So we'll imagine in scenario number one here. Let's say in scenario number one, I'm not very talkative and I ask you a lot of questions. And in the process of me asking you a lot of questions, right, you end up chit-chatting a lot about yourself. And you're chatting and chatting and chatting. But then you walk away from this date and you're thinking to yourself, he asked me a lot of questions. What about that guy? I don't really know much about him, right? What does he want? Right? Does he have any desire for me? I didn't really get that. I didn't really pick up on that because I was talking about all these other things about myself. What is he like really? Who is his ex? How much dating experience does he have, right? All these different questions you might have, right, will start filling up your brain space, right? Because you're thinking, I don't have answers to these questions. And actually, this guy's quite mysterious. I don't really know much about him. Now, because you have more questions, I should say, and less answers on me, you're starting to think to yourself, I wonder what he's thinking. I wonder what he's doing. I wonder how he spends his time because these are all answers I don't have. Now, subsequently, let's create a scenario here for number two, where on the outside, I tell you where I am all the time. I tell you who I am. I tell you what my desires are. I tell you if I desire you, okay? I tell you how attracted I am to you. Exactly. I give you information on my entire life. I tell you all my traumas. Right? Now, we have all of these answers sitting outside of your brain, right? What is there for you to think about? Not much. Because you have to understand, what takes up the most brain space within men also is when they have more questions about you. It's very difficult to have a lot of questions about someone who you have no uncertainty towards. See, like I said, that anxiety sounds like a bad emotion to have, but it's so much more interesting for men. And when you're taking up the most brain space, you're even more attractive. Even if you're the same person that you've been, even if you have the same size dump truck, the same size GDs, the same size everything, it doesn't matter. Even though you're exactly the same and you're doing the exact same things, you become more interesting simply by providing men with just a little bit of anxiety. Okay? So I don't want you to be scared of giving men that emotion. I don't want you to be scared of giving men a lack of answers or a lack of clarity. Now, I'm not saying you should go into it and say, oh, I don't even know if I want to date. I don't even know if I want to be in a relationship. That's not the lack of clarity that I'm trying to help you understand. That's not the uncertainty that I want you to give men. The uncertainty that I want you to give men is, hey, I don't know how I feel about you. I don't know if you're the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know if I really want to be with you. Maybe you're going to have to convince me. Okay? And this uncertainty will force him to take action if he has interest in you. And if he's taking action because he has interest in you, he's making a choice here. Choices are always good for men because when they can recognize they chose you, now all of a sudden you can hold them a lot more accountable. Because when they make a choice to be with you, they make a choice to take action to spend more time with you or get more access to you, you create a dynamic that allows you to thrive in your feminine and everything kind of fits together how it's supposed to, okay? Does that make sense to all of you beautiful, beautiful people? Do you guys have any questions about the 8 points that we just discussed here. Biki says, should we ask men more questions? Absolutely. Absolutely. You definitely want to be asking men as many questions as possible because questions will do multiple things simultaneously. It will help you hold your mystery. It'll also give you more answers on him, what he's like, what he thinks, what he wants, which will help you answer some questions. Is this a guy that I should even be investing my time into? So I always advise you guys, have your question book, don't actually have a book, but have your questions ready in your mind that you're gonna ask a guy, okay? Someone says, what type of questions? I've actually done a couple of shows on questions. We can do a refresher show one of these days if you guys have, if you guys want me to refresh that on different questions that you can ask men on dates. Let me go to some of our donations here. Donations, like Dr. Umar says. Thanks for the great advice. This comes from Meme is a real person, okay? She says, thanks for the great advice. If you wanna go on an abstinence journey for at least 2 years, should I even bother dating? Oh, like if you, meaning you, like if you want to go on an abstinence journey for 2 years, should I even bother dating? I'm on 3 months going strong. What I'll say to you is, if you're trying to be abstinent, there's nothing wrong with dating, but you have to be, before you're even talking about that with other people, be honest with yourself. Are you actually going to do that? Because it's one thing to say I'm abstinent and I'm staying in the house and by myself. It's another thing to say I'm abstinent and I'm going to be around temptation. Now, you have to solve a couple of other problems for yourself, Meme, if you're going to be truly abstinent. If you're saying you're abstinent and then you're going to go out and you're going to drink, and you know when you drink, you get lubricated down here, right? Now we have a problem. If you know you're going to be abstinent and you smoke, and you know when you smoke, you're a horn dog. Now we have a problem because you're trying to be abstinent, but you're adding elements that will make it harder for you to actually do that. So if you're gonna truthfully do that and date, you wanna make sure you're taking care of all your bases. Meaning, if you're gonna be abstinent, you know that drinking, gets you in a place where you lose your mind, you lose your marbles, then you're gonna have to cut that out as well. If you know that smoking makes you lose your marbles, you start feeling away, you're gonna have to cut that out as well. Because when you say you wanna be abstinent and then you get those things in your system, and then all of that goes out the window, you don't want to make the mistake, one, of messing up your own journey, but you definitely don't want to make the mistake of trying to communicate to a man that these are your boundaries and whatever the case may be, and then you do the opposite of that, because then you're going to look like Boo Boo the Fool. I don't want that for you. Okay, Nadine donates $5 in the YouTube chat. She's just donating just because I appreciate that, Nadine, so much, okay? LP Baby says, for point number 6, he wants me to communicate more, to the point where he wanted to go our separate ways. How do I handle this? I do feel he's tripping a little bit, but I'm not going to tell him this. What do you mean he wants you to communicate more? Communicate more about what? And in terms of what, right? That's too general for me to be specific about what exactly you mean. Glue says, Tomisin, why Nigerian guys always end their text with, what is that? The parentheses and a question mark? I couldn't tell you why certain people text a particular way. It could just be a cultural thing, but I don't text like that. But also, I was only born in Nigeria. I didn't grow up in Nigeria. So that could be like if you grew up in Nigeria type of thing, okay? Anna says, I don't drink. I've been nearly 3 years, and it's not hard if you use dating apps. Like, it's not hard to not drink if you use dating apps? What? How is that? How does that work? I don't drink either. And I quit like around the same time as you, Anna, but why dating apps make that easier? Why? Someone says, oh boy. Someone says, a question, can we implement these points when it's a long distance relationship? I'm not gonna lose my marbles, okay? When it comes to long distance relationships, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but it is nearly impossible to apply basically anything that we talk about on this show. Because a lot of what I'm talking about is energy. A lot of what I'm talking about is feelings. A lot of what I'm talking about is eliciting emotion within people, feeling their response, and figuring out what to do with that. That's the honest truth. So when I talk about dynamics, when I talk about your interaction with guys, it's very truthful and accurate. However, it's very close to impossible to recreate that feeling, to recreate that dynamic, to recreate that experience when you're not actually seeing the person in person. Because I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of men who will make you feel like you're in a long distance relationship with them. And then when they hang up the phone, they go upstairs to bed with their wife or their girlfriend, or, they have another ongoing situation with a woman who they're physical with that's close to them. I'm just, just being super honest with you. You know what I mean? I can't lie to you. I can't tell you a lie. So the reason I say that is because I don't want you to get caught into the trap of thinking I'm going to take all of Tomisin's advice and use it on my guy who I never see in person. Because you're not going to see the same result that other people will. And then you'll come back to me saying, Tomisin, I tried everything that you said, but it didn't work. Well, yeah, it's very difficult for all of this stuff to work when I'm talking about how you'll interact with a real human being in person. I know not all of us can have a perfect situation where we're dating someone who lives in our city, right? But I also want you to understand, frequency of how much you see that person in person is definitely going to change how well some of these tactics will work versus how little they'll work, to be honest with you, right? When dating long distance, the only way I really advise you to date long distance is if you have a man who is twice as invested as the average man. What I mean by that is like that man has to have an obsession with seeing you in person, okay? And he has to have an obsession with making that happen. Whether he flies to you a ridiculous amount of times, or he flies you to him a ridiculous amount of times, or he figures out some way that he can make it happen on a regular basis. Like he has to be like really, really, really obsessed with you for me to say that a long distance relationship will work. Because I know if he's not in that place mentally, he'll just be like, yeah, whatever, we'll chit chat whenever I have time, and we'll talk FaceTime sometimes, and then he'll go and he'll explore his own physical relationships in his area. Like he really has to want to make that work with you for that to work. Okay, let's see, I had some more questions here. Let me go into scroll up a little bit. Donkey says, can I call him if he called me 4 times? Yeah, if someone calls you 4 times, you can call them back. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Maple says he's right. I had a guy travel 11 hours to see me every 2 weeks. Maple, that would be a perfect example of the type of guy I would say it's a-okay to date him long distance. Because if he's doing all that, then he's really obsessed with the idea of being with you specifically, which is why he's going through all that effort, right? Vice versa, if you're in a situation where you have to pull teeth just to get that man to want to come see you or to put some effort into coming to see you, you're not in there. You might as well cut that out. Might as well cut that out. Okay. LP Baby says, just to communicate via text, update him more often. Basically, I take hours or a half a day to reply. Is this bad? I was trying to trick to be a black cat, but I'm actually a white cat, dog. So LP Baby, if you're talking about a guy that you're seeing on a regular basis and he's asking you to send him updates like of your day and things like that, you don't need to do that. But if he's talking about more communication in the sense of like communicating your feelings or communicating like, I don't know, what you're actually desiring, if he's confused about that, like that's a totally different story. If we're talking about a guy you've been dating for a long period of time, right? Overall communication is different from just being like, hey, here's what I'm doing every second of the day. Because then what he's asking is give me less anxiety because I'm spending a lot of time thinking about what you're doing when you're not messaging me. That's fine. I actually would like that to happen. I'd love for the guy that you're dating to be thinking about what you're doing when you're not messaging him. I don't even need you to actually be doing anything weird or strange. I just want him to be thinking about what you could be doing so that he can say, what are you doing? Or call you or be like, hey, I want to see you. Because the only time he can really get to a place of security, get to a place of knowing what you're doing is by being with you, right? You see how that creates a little bit of an incentive. As opposed to easing that anxiety, then he has less of an incentive, okay? Let me scroll up here. Let me see, I had a couple questions that I wanted to do. Oh, Henya says some men will give up because they don't have the balls or already engaged with someone else. Are you talking about in a long distance relationship, Henya? It's very true. It's very true. I don't want that for any of you. I don't want that for any of you. Long distance can be really tough, right? The guy I'm talking to, someone says, oh, what is this? Why is this popping up now? Someone says the guy I'm talking to just got out of a relationship 4 weeks ago. Should I continue chatting with him? No. Chat, I helped, this reminds me actually, if you guys want to ask me a personal question, like a private question about your situationship or relationship, and you want to get my direct advice on it because it's very detailed and very descriptive of your situation, go into, if you're watching this on TikTok, go into the link in my bio on TikTok. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go down into my description, click where it says private relationship advice. Then you can type out your question and send it in to me if it's a personal one or just unrelated to this. And you can send it in to me. I'll respond with a voice message and it'll be 8 to 10 minutes long, but I'll let you know a little secret. The past probably 10 private questions I've done have been all 20 minutes long, my answer, because we've had a reoccurring theme here. I don't know what's going on in the air. I don't know if it's the month. I don't know if it's the time. I don't know. The past 10 of all my questions have been women dealing with married men. So I had to go 20 minutes. And sometimes, depending on your question, I might have to go 20 minutes. So I'll just prepare you. If you're going to send me in a personal private question through the link, I'm going to be very comprehensive and very detailed. So I hope when you're getting your answer, you have time to sit down and you have time to listen to a whole damn podcast, because I'm going to break down everything in your situation of what's going on in my perspective and things like that. I'm a very passionate person, okay? So just be mindful of that, right? Someone said I'm married, I use these tricks on my husband. Perfect. A lot of these things can be applied to a real, to a marriage or to a long-term already existing relationship, right? It's just, what I discuss is really just about understanding the psychology of men, and you can make an adjustment even in your already existing relationship, and then you can see a whole different side of him that you never saw before, right? Okay. Star says, I hope you are telling them they are wrong for that. If you've been here for any extent of the show, you know, as soon as someone says I'm dealing with a married man, my first response is stop that right now, because you're wasting all of your time. Not some of it, you're wasting all of your time. You will never see happiness dating a married man. I don't give advice on how to be more successful dating married men. That's not something I'll ever do or advise, okay? Spark says, this guy is extremely shy and insecure. He never rejects my invitations. Why are you inviting him to things? Spark. He never rejects my invitations, but he can never get to invite me himself. What can I do to incentivize him to ask me to go places? Nothing. You do nothing. Spark, listen to me. You do nothing. Because if a guy is too shy, oh, he's too shy, he's too scared, he's too, oh my God, he's too insecure. Don't worry about it. What you worry about, this is what I was talking about earlier, right? You're not looking for a particular guy. So what I want you all to stop doing, we might have to have a show about this. What I want you all to stop doing, stop seeking a guy and saying, I want this guy to be in the type of relationship that I can thrive in my feminine energy and help me receive the dynamic that I'm looking for. Because the problem with that is when you pick the guy before you acknowledge that this is the dynamic that you're looking for, you end up with a situation where you're trying to make him work for what you're looking for, as opposed to just allowing things to happen as they will and knowing that the type of guy you're gonna pay attention to and focus your energy on will show you first the dynamic that you're looking for. That way, you get to exist in your feminine energy without having to beg for things and ask for things that you should already be receiving. So Spark, that's a perfect example of that, right? You should not be trying to figure out how to incentivize the shy, insecure guy to get some balls, get some cojones, to actually ask you out or ask you on a date, because that's a losing battle, right? Once you do that the first time, you're gonna continue having to take action just to get him to take some action, just to get him to be the man. And subsequently, you will end up as the man. I don't want that for you. What I want is for you to first look for the situation that you want, the dynamic that you want, and the guy should be showing you that from the beginning, not the opposite way around, okay? Blonde Fire says, what if a guy says he has commitment issues, avoids at all costs, and what if he contacts me weeks, months later showing interest? I always tell you guys this. If you start seeing a guy, let's say you meet a guy on Hinge, you're chatting with him, and then he disappears for some time. If there's ever a period where you're dating a guy or seeing a guy and 2 weeks goes by, 14 days, and he has not said anything to you, hasn't contacted you, hasn't texted you, hasn't messaged you, hasn't nothing, forget about him. Forget about him. You place him in the trash can, and anytime he tries to come back after that, just forget about it. The reason I'm saying that is if a guy starts off trying to date you and then he falls off a cliff, it fizzles out, whatever the case may be, and 2 weeks goes by and he doesn't bother to contact you or say anything, his interest isn't there. You can't build off that. And if a guy needs more than 2 weeks to realize that he wants you, probably there's a lot of external factors you weren't thinking about, right? Maybe now he's actually single. Maybe before he had an ongoing situation. Either way, 2 weeks time, you're probably wasting your time trying to allow him to come back, because the chances of him doing the same thing or that creating a pattern is very, very high. Okay. Um, Anna says, nobody should entertain married men. If he is doing it to his wife, he will do it to you eventually. That's not a good guy. We would all think that, right? You would think that would be a simple idea. But I understand, in certain situations, it's easier to say, and then when you're in it, you feel like you're the different person, right? Like, oh, like our relationship's different. This is gonna go different, It's not gonna be like the other situation. So I always kind of, try to bring people back down to earth whenever they're thinking that way. Flower says, yes, that's the natural order. The masculine must knock themselves out and press the F out of us before we choose them. That's what you're looking for. And I think it was Spark that said earlier, right? Don't be focusing your energy on the shy, soy boy, insecure men that can't go up to you, can't ask you out, can't have the courage to do nothing. Because if that's the case, that you need to give him all these hints and all these incentives in order to ask you out, you just need to focus on giving your energy to the big dogs, okay? The men who actually have courage, who actually, have some, cojones and balls to be able to come up to you, say things, acknowledge you, ask you out. Focus your time and energy on giving yourself to those men. Let the insecure, shy men be in the corner wanking themselves out. They don't get to reproduce, okay? They don't get that, okay? You're not gonna aid them in reproducing by doing more for them, okay? You give yourself to the big dogs, they get to reproduce. That's how the world works, You can't feel sorry for everyone. You gotta focus on what you need. And what you need as a feminine woman is a masculine man who can take life by the balls and grab you by your throat. Well, depending on what you're into. And you know what I mean, okay? Take care of business. That's what's gonna get you wet. That's what's gonna make you feel good. That's what's gonna, have you in your happy place. Not the insecure, the shy boys. They don't know how to talk. They don't know. You need to do a whole bunch. You need to dress them. Stop it. Stop it. Don't get me upset. All right, we're going to hop into our next segment of the day. Thank you so much. You guys see my glasses. I had to get glasses to be able to see the board better and things like that. So now the reading will be more smoother because I have my glasses on. I got new glasses. Okay, you like my glasses? You like my glasses?
If I told you that a lot of men do things, negative things to women, pull the rug from under women's feet to get an emotional response out of them. What if I told you that? A man will cheat on a woman and confess. And that woman will say, okay, she can have you. So what are we doing with the lease? Are we going to break the lease? Do you want me to call the landlord? What do you want to do? What's the plan? Huh? Yeah, what's the plan? What are we doing? Do you want me to break the lease? Like, what are we doing? You don't care? You're not upset? Well, you're entertaining someone else, so, They are so shocked that you're not going crazy. Because that was their goal the whole time. Is to get an emotional response out of you. Is to get you to react negatively, pushing, yelling, screaming, busting his windows out of his car. It was all a ploy. And when you react in a stoic way and you give no reaction and no emotions, he's going to start accusing you of cheating. He's going to say, you're cheating on me. There's another man involved. You don't really love me. This was all an act. I know you didn't mean it. No, it's a game. For a lot of these men, it's a game. You're in a game when you're dealing with them. And it's a game where you become a captive. They have you on a leash because they are constantly getting emotional responses out of you. And they feed on your emotional responses. It's fuel. Men love pulling the rug from under women's feet. They do it all the time. They love it. And you think they don't do it. You think they're not purposefully doing it. Oh yeah, they're purposefully surprising you negatively. They're purposefully pulling the rug from under your feet. They're purposefully abandoning you when you need them the most. It's all calculated.
Now, the thing that I'll add to that, right, is obviously we all have emotions. So like the idea of like just not reacting whenever someone or a guy, especially that you like or are in love with, says something or does something that you really don't appreciate. Sure, perfect world, we would never respond to. Obviously, you want to respond, but it's also about understanding like timing and then having your proper outlets that it's like, okay, I'm going to have my chance to react and respond. It's just not going to be in front of him because I don't want him to feel my energy. In certain instances, I'll be honest with you, like it is 100% best to not let a man feel your energy. In fact, in a lot of situations, when he does something that really upsets you, it's actually best to completely withdraw and make him feel like you don't care. Because when he feels like you don't care, now he starts to really question himself. When you give him energy, even though, you know, you're screaming and yelling and you feel like I'm clearly upset, it doesn't feel the same as when you withdraw from it. So sometimes you want to adopt the mentality that you would, well, I would say a lot of the time, you want to adopt the mentality that you just go completely silent, you complete withdraw. Now I know that's different for everyone. And then you allow yourself to crash out with your friends on your own time, in your pillow, in your room, in your car, whatever the case may be. But don't let him see the crash out, because I want you to save the crash out for yourself and not let him see that, because when he sees that, it's going to do something for him, right? It's going to give him that little bit of an ego boost. It's going to make him feel like he matters. If you really want to punish a man, you want to make him feel like he doesn't matter. I'm just saying. You want to punish him? Make it feel like it don't matter.
There's a bad bitch somewhere currently obsessed with a lame ass nigga. And not lame like, oh, he just dressed corny. No, like lame like he's cheating, dogging her, and she's a good person.
I get what he's saying, but why does he have so much passion when he's saying it? Like, I feel like, never mind. Never mind. That's hate. Never mind.
Come to me. What are you doing?
Never mind. I won't say what I was. Never mind.
I'm right here. What are we doing?
Chad, do you think of what I'm thinking or no? I feel like. No, I won't say it.
Like, bro, she's on her knees crying over a nigga that nigga can't do shit for himself. And that's who you crying over? And I'm here?
He's not wrong. But the thing is, like, I just feel like something very specific inspired this video. I feel like he has a lot of passion in this.
In Atlanta, Georgia? Instagram Makai, M-E-K-H-I, Zaire, Z-A-H-I-R. Here? Looking for love? Crazy, bro. That shit crazy. Like, I would never treat you like that. Like, that shit's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would never, shit, like, all these other niggas, I would never treat you like that. Like, you said you want to go to the Sundial. Like, you want to go a whole date. Like, you know, I could come pick you up. You know, we go out like one.
Am I watching a personal video, or was this actually meant for the internet? I'm confused. When you guys sent this to me, was he making this for the internet, or because I feel like this is just meant for one person. I feel like this was actually a video message for just one person in particular.
We'll do a little picnic first. And, you know, I'll take you, show you, you know, we do a little road trip midday. And like, you know, we go here, there, you know, plan the whole day. You ain't gotta like really think for real, you know what I mean? No?
I wonder who this was meant for, because this is definitely meant for someone specific. He's very passionate. He's very passionate. Okay.
Okay, this is the 5 weirdest relationships. The relationship between incels and OnlyFans models. He will literally.
Wait, what? We started off so hot. What? Okay. Look, 5 weird. Okay. What? Let's restart this.
Okay, this is the 5 weirdest relationships. The relationship between incels and OnlyFans models. He will literally talk about women are whores, they're no good, there's no good women out here, and blow his entire check for her to send him her dirty sock.
What? There do be a lot of men that like feet. I posted my feet today. I got a lot of messages about my feet. Chat, what type of feet I have? Must have nicer feet than I thought, because I got a lot of messages about my feet today. I posted them on Instagram. Anyways, dirty socks. Okay.
He broke all week with a dirty sock in his hand on Instagram, rating women 3s. The super pro black woman and then the white man. Okay, this woman will march all morning. You talk to her, she talk about the patriarchy and then the oppressor and white supremacy, and literally let this dude's great grandson blow her back out that night. March in the morning, grandson, blow her back out that night. I don't know. I mean, it's go where you love, sis. Ain't got nothing against y'all, nothing like that. It's just a weird mix to me. Black woman hating black male and murderous white female. So it's been a trend with these guys are talking crazy about black women online only to be unalived by his partner shortly after. And I just picture him getting stabbed up by her and his final thoughts. Thank you, white angel. You.
Nah, chat. Why would you send this to me, chat? Like, come on, yo.
Purify me from my black skin. Wake up right in hell. Okay, the very curvy girl and then the super skinny guy. Okay, I always find this couple dynamic interesting. I think baseball bat, very cute. The 3-time divorcee and the Filipino women. He got to be with somebody who don't understand.
That ain't right.
Understand nothing he's saying, because that mouth done ended like 3 marriages. He done spent 2 hours cussing her out and she just nodding her head, yes, just spent all his money up, and that's it.
This ain't right. Why would she make this?
Okay, this is the 5 weirdest relationships. The relationship between.
I don't disagree. You want to know what the funny thing is? When I saw the picture of the plus size woman here,
wake up right in hell. Okay,
I actually thought, chat, don't ask me why. I actually thought she was, I thought she was gonna originally say a white plus size woman and then like a Jamaican man. That's actually where my mind originally went. So that's why I was thinking, but she didn't go there. She just went bigger and skinny guy. But it just I see that a lot. I see it's the skinny Jamaican man, and then usually a larger white woman. It just it's an interesting dynamic. I see that a lot, especially I live in Toronto, so I see that a lot.
Very curvy girl.
Very, very interesting.
I saw a TikTok earlier that said it's impossible to enjoy what you had to.
Why does this girl look so familiar? Did we watch another one of her videos? Damn, I hate when that happens. Why is she wearing? I've seen that. Never mind.
Beg for. As much as I know it is very important to communicate what your expectations are, what your wants and desires are to your partner. That is very important, and I understand that. At the same time, sometimes it feels like if I have to keep asking for the same things over and over and over again for you to finally do it, it feels like you don't genuinely love or respect me, because why do I have to ask so many times? I truly feel like a partner that sees you and understands you, you should not have to continuously ask for. A partner that wants to make you feel seen and heard and respected and loved will go out of their way to do things knowing who you are. Having to communicate over and over and beg for the things that you know you need as a person just doesn't sit right with me anymore. At the end of the day, somebody should want to do those things for you. They should want to bring that comfort and peace and happiness to your life without you having to beg for it. They finally do it. They are looking for some kind of appreciation or validation that, oh, look, I did it. I finally did what you asked. And it's like, okay, but now I don't really appreciate it anymore because I had to ask so many times, and it doesn't feel like it's coming from a genuine place. It feels like you're just doing it to get me to shut the fuck up. I saw a TikTok earlier that said it's impossible to enjoy what you had to beg for.
Fair. You know, I understand that. But here's the thing also. If you ever get to a point where you feel like in your relationship with the guy, you're having to beg, before you continuously beg, you should just walk away. Because here's the other weird reality, that with guys, when they actually see that you're ready to leave, that's when they're ready to make a change. So rather than begging, if you, I don't want to say anything toxic, but if you just make yourself ready to leave, that will probably be more of the shock to his system that maybe he'll actually make a change. Now, you might be ready to leave and then he actually still doesn't make the change. That's a whole nother story in which you should just walk away. But I'll be honest with you, men only see it's necessary to change when they actually see you're serious about walking away. So if we can help you get serious about walking away, maybe then we'll be able to inspire change. But ideally, what we want is we want a man that as soon as you begin withdrawing even just a little bit, he automatically is trying to think about how to make a change or adjustment for you. That's why you want to start your relationship off with a man who has high interest in you. You don't want to be building relationships with men who their approach to you is, meh, take it or leave it, right? You definitely don't want to be building your relationship with men who have like little to no interest in you and trying to force one with them. You'll be very unhappy. You want to only be choosing to invest your time in men who have high interest in you, because a lot of what we discuss will work perfectly for you when he actually has a desire to be with you, not, you know, oh, take it or leave it, man.
I can always tell what type of guy a man is by the way his girlfriend act. Yeah. The way the girlfriend act is going to give it away every time. For example, when a woman acts like a baby girl or a princess or just like a
baby girl, let me see your... Never mind.
Baby, specifically around her man, then 9 times out of 10 chances her man treats her right. Her inner child is safe. Her inner child is thriving. She is thriving in her femininity 100%. And the way her man treats her reflects that. Like, her world would be literally unicorns and rainbows because she's being treated like a princess. Literally, like, just laughing all the time, joyful, playful, everything. But when a woman is just more serious and more calm, 9 times out of 10 chances, she's just dealing with a more decent man. And when I say decent, I mean, like, one of those men that just give out the bare minimum and she's just kind of, like, okay with that. Like, you know, like, he's not really giving her the princess treatment, but he's giving her enough to, like, have her. Hence is why she's not very playful and stuff, because she probably don't find shit funny. Now, when a woman is overly emotional and mean, 9 times out of 10 chances her man ain't shit. And I'm just gonna keep it. She's overly emotional because he's constantly putting her through BS. So every little thing he does triggers her because she's constantly putting up with stuff. I'm telling y'all, I have studied it.
Okay, someone asked in the chat, she said, what are the 7 things to say? If you missed any of the points that we discussed here, and you came late, you can just go over to my YouTube channel, which is just above my head on the top right corner of the screen. And then you can type in my name, just type in my name, Tomisin. And then once you get in my YouTube channel, you'll see me live on YouTube at the same time. And you can rewind it just like that and see all of the different points that I did there, okay, if you missed any. For this, you know what, you want to know what's funny, what this makes me think about? Okay, let's not get too deep into me, but it makes me think about sometimes when I used to work corporate jobs, I would meet some women at my corporate job and they would be so uptight. Like, I mean, like, you know, those people that, like, it's not like, oh, work uptight. It's just like, they're just so wound up. Everything is like a huge deal to them. And it's like, that's just their personality. And I just, you know, I'm weird. In my mind, I'm just like, you need to get D'd down. If you were getting D'd down real nice, make a man making passionate love to you, you wouldn't be this wound up. I can tell this is the wound up. You haven't gotten D'd down in a while. You haven't felt a man's passion in a while, and you're very wound up now. That's why the reason I'm saying that is because she talks about how you can tell what place a woman is in her relationship and how well or not well a man is taking care of her by the way that she acts. And I think that that's very true. And it's the same thing that I think when I see, you know, or meet women who are like just really wound up, because like when they start getting D'd down, their whole personality changes. It's actually awesome. I think it's amazing and very, very interesting. Have you guys ever experienced that? You might be the woman at work that's very wound up. Usually the women who are the most wound up are getting the least D'd down. And the women who are less wound up are getting their stuff penetrated. Anyways, let's go.
Girl, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not having a good day. I went through my man's phone and I found out he's talking to other girls.
I'm really sorry to hear that. It's tough dealing with things like this.
You know what?
How many of you use ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT relationship questions? I'm actually very curious about this. Let me know in the chat. Yes or no, using ChatGPT for relationship questions. I'm actually very curious about this.
You know what? Wait, listen, chat. It is tough, but I'm over it. I want to write a diss record right now. So can you please write me a rap?
Absolutely. Let's channel that energy.
Yes.
How about this? I found your secrets, thought you were mine, but you crossed the line.
No.
Like
Chat.
a game,
No, we not going outside, chat. Give me a Lotto, a Glorilla. I need a vibe. Something people could turn up to, but it also shows that I'm a boss, you know?
Got you. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
How about...
My bad.
I'm the boss, got my mind on my grind, never looking back, leaving all that behind. Strong and fierce, I rise. Watch me shine, I know my worth, and I'm claiming what's mine.
Chat. This is still too nice. You need to toughen up, chat. Chat, you know I'm black, right? Toughen up. This gotta be something people could bop to, but he needs to know not to play with me ever again. Let's try again.
Got it. Let's make it bold and fierce. You played your games, thought you could play me. Now watch me rise. I'm unstoppable.
Chat.
You'll see.
Chat.
No more
No,
lies.
chat.
I'm taking my throne.
Chat.
I'm fierce and free, never alone.
Chat. You want me to make? Should I make? If I had a computer programmer, should I make an AI of me? That's my voice. I wonder, can I implant my voice on an AI and be like, yo, put my voice on the AI or make the AI talk like me? Is that even possible? Should we make a chat or an AI of me that you guys can ask questions to and it responds like I would after listening? I'm sure we could probably get that done if I inputted all of the videos that I've done since the beginning of time. It would learn how I talk and how I respond to things. That'd be quite interesting, actually. A Tomisin AI. That'd be very interesting. Would you guys ask that questions? That'd be, I always like asking questions to a human being. I'll be honest with you. Even if I created an AI, you rather ask me the question directly because then I can give you my human experience response as opposed to my AI human experience response. But if you guys like the 24/7 on-demand version, on the shoulder, in the shower, in your bed, all that type of stuff, maybe we might.
Bro, the second you break up with a man, you be the president of the United States, ho. I'm getting sworn in right now. Fuck is you talking about? I swear. I'm getting sworn in tonight. Leave that man today, bitch. You bugging the fuck out. He blocking all your blessings, bitch. You leave a man today, you gonna be the president of the United States today, ho. Sworn the fuck in. Hurry up.
Where do you think she's from?
Bitch, hurry up. Hurry up. I'm gonna pick you up. Hurry the fuck up, bitch. Come on. You looking at me, bitch? Get dressed. Brother.
What state you think she's from? She's from USA. I would probably say she's got to be from one of the boroughs. I would probably say one of the boroughs. Okay, this is giving a little bit of Bronx energy. Yeah, it's giving Bronx energy. I don't think this is Brooklyn energy, but I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Giving a little bit of Bronx energy, but she right. When you take your focus off of a guy, a lot of good things could happen. When you finally start, someone said her lips are like the brats. Come on, you should know better than that. Even I know that's a filter. Come on. We in 2025, okay? All right, chat. Let's hop into our next segment of the day. It's a special time. It's an amazing time. It's a time where you're gonna laugh and you're definitely gonna cry. Okay. Okay. Don't look at your clock. You better spam it up, by the way. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. Should I go louder chat or quiet chat? Which one? Don't look anywhere else in your entire home. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time, okay? Are you ready? Are you prepared? Time. Yeah. Okay, chat. All right, enough silliness. Let's hop into our Discord time, our Discord section of the show. For those of you who have no idea how this works, I'll explain this out to you. Discord times where all the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their relationship or their situationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, there are different ways that you can submit your question. There are 3 different ways, actually, and I'm going to explain all of those amazing ways. What the heck? What the heliante? Why is that like that? To you here right now. So the first way is by what? Hold on, this thing glitching on me. Okay, first way is by submitting your question to our free relationship advice section. Now, the way that you get access to that is by going to the link in my bio if you're watching on TikTok, or in my description if you're watching on YouTube. Click where it says Discord, Players Club Discord. You click that, and then you hop into our relationship advice forum, and then just make sure you format it like everyone else, and then you can drop your question in there. Now, you can see here, there's lots and lots of questions here that are highlighted. All of these highlighted questions mean that I haven't yet gotten to them, which means that it's going to take me a couple of weeks to get to your question because there are a lot in our Discord section. If you do not want to wait that long, like a couple of weeks to get your question answered, because if you ask it today, it's going to take me a while to get to yours. If you don't want to wait that long, you could, your daddy. You can hop into our premium relationship advice section to ask your question. Now, the way that this works is that in order for you to ask your question in here, you have to first go to the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description on YouTube. Click where it says Premium Discord Relationship Advice. Then you click that link, and then it'll prompt you to take you to a link to donate to the show. And also in your donation, it'll ask you to fill out your Discord username and the title of your question. When you fill that out, it will then submit it to me, and then I'll get a notification on my phone that you submitted your question. And then once I see that, I'll answer your question, and I'll allow you to skip the line, because in the premium section, it's like a skip the line pass where you don't have to wait to get your question answered in the free queue. I answer these ones first before I go into the free section, okay? So that's if you don't want to wait your turn. You just want to get it answered as soon as possible. Now, the other way here for you to get your question answered is in our private relationship advice forum or section, link, however you want to call it. Now, the way that this works is basically when you submit your question to me, rather than it being read on the show, it goes directly to me, and then you can type out as many, words and details as you want of your situation. Then when you send it in to me, I respond with a personal private voice message back to you with the email that you're going to submit this through. And then you will get that answer. It's usually going to be 8 to 10 minutes long. You'll get that answer within a couple of days. Maximum, it will take me 7 days. Okay. So you can access this link here. It's in the Discord. It's also available in the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description. It's where it says private relationship advice. And then when you click that, you can submit your question and get your answer that way. Okay. Let's hop into our first premium question here. Okay, so it's F-Buddy turned on. You guys are funny. Okay, we'll start off with J. This is the first question I'm reading with my glasses here, so this will be quite an experience, okay? Hey, Tomisin, I have a few questions about flirting, confidence, and figuring out if a guy's into you. About a month ago, I was at a singles wear black. That was you have to all wear black, okay? Couples wear color. Oh. So there's singles and couples there. Why would couples be there? What are they looking for Interesting. Couples wear color. Run club event taking pictures. Oh, it was a run club event. That's what they're doing at the run clubs? I met a videographer wearing black. S. So you're calling him S, who I thought was cute. Was having actual camera issues. I tapped him on the shoulder and asked for help. He explained the problem, shared his experience with that model, like that model of camera, and we chatted a bit. Do you know about cameras? I complimented his work I had seen before on the club's page and told him I do social media videography. Okay, so you did. For a celebrity tattoo artist. He seemed impressed and mentioned he wants to learn motion graphics, so he's fairly new then, I'm assuming, maybe. He asked my name. I asked his. We shook hands, and he said he'd see me around before going back to filming. So he cut the convo. That's okay. It's the first convo. That's not that big a deal. We talked briefly a few more times. He initiated by asking if I was running with the group when I came back out of breath with my cam. Why did you have a cam though? What? I'm confused. Where did you get a camera from? I sat near him and another videographer, mostly just wanting to be close to him. I didn't speak too much, and honestly, at some points, I got up and walked around because I was scared of seeming like I'm hovering around him. Later, I initiated and asked about the genre of a DJ to start another convo. He explained it briefly, and we went our separate ways. When I said bye to all of them, S smiled and tried to come say bye to me and shake my hand, but another videographer stepped in and PP blocked him. What? I'm a bit okay. Are you talking to all the videographers at the event? Damn, like you Mrs. Videographer Superwoman. Why are all the videographers talking to you? You got it. So you must had a camera in one hand and then you got a dump truck behind you. Maybe that's why all the videographers coming up and talking to you. Okay, all right. You videoing for sure. They trying to video you. We made eye contact and smiled while in convo. I'm unsure if he was just friendly or interested. I might be overthinking, but I like your take. I'm going again this weekend. You love that run club, huh? That's that. I be telling y'all that run chat. I be telling y'all that run club. I tell you, boy, they got some joints. I'll tell you. I'm going again this weekend. Do you think he could have been interested? Did I do a bad job of showing my interest? How should I move? Should I flirt more or leave it alone? If I should flirt, what are the subtle but clear ways to do it? Also, how do you deal with confidence and stop overthinking in these moments? If a guy doesn't make a move the first time, does it always mean he's not interested? Or could he just be unsure of my interest? Okay, let me answer this question for you clearly, Miss JJ. Here's the thing. Whenever you're dealing with a guy that you are just, chatting with, and then you're kind of feeling him out, you have to understand, like, at a certain point, he has to be able to pick up what you're putting down. And if he's not able to do that, then you have to realize that's because he's probably not there interest-wise. So what I mean, or he's just not emotionally intelligent that you can be subtle and allow him to take the lead. Either way, you don't want to be dealing with men like that, because you're either going to have to, because he's so emotionally immature, going to spell everything out for him in order for him to give you what you want, which is going to be kind of frustrating for you. Or you're going to be in a scenario in which the only way to get him to actually ask you out is to do it first yourself, or to make the first move, which I also don't want for you. So here's the thing. You have to accept that, even though you might like this guy and like his vibe, if he's not really shooting his shot at you, or he's not seeming like he wants to take the next step, then there's a reason for that. Whether it may be he's not as interested as he needs to be, or in some cases, I'll be super honest with you, he could just have another relationship, nothing about what you said or talked about here. Did you ever mention talking about your single or relationship status? Which I'm not saying that you have to, but what I am saying is, you met him at a run club and there were both singles and couples there, but you're also forgetting that he's not part of the event. He's shooting the event. So he can come, shoot the event, and be in a relationship. Right? He's working the event. So it's different. So, and also, just like I always talk to you all about work situations, sometimes you can be working with a guy or meeting a guy while he's at work, and he might flirt with you and chit chat with you as a way to pass the time. Right? Do you understand the difference between that? And there's a difference between him chit-chatting with you because he actually wants to talk to you and get to know you, versus chit-chatting with you because he's already getting paid to be there, and then you being cute and attractive to him, and him being able to flirt with you or have some conversation with you and passing the time while he gets paid to be there is a great way to pass the time and get paid. So I'm just saying that to help you realize that, you might have had a great conversation with him. You might have felt some energy there even as well, but you also don't even know if he's actually single, right? You haven't confirmed that at all, right? And we also don't know if he's actually in a place where he was chatting with you because he wanted to be with you or explore you, or chatting with you because he's working and then he just has to chat, right? Someone says, but he was wearing black. Yes, but he's working the event, right? He was doing the videography at the event. He was literally holding a camera. That's how she met him. So I get it. He was wearing black, but are we sure that him wearing black means that he's part of the event? He's one of the singles? Are we sure? Because a lot of videographers wear black. I'm just saying, you might be correct, but it's also one of those things where we don't know if that was just a coincidence. We don't know. You didn't necessarily get confirmation or denial on that. So just something to think about. Now, like I also said, Even if he is single, do we know for sure if he was chit-chatting with you because he wanted to see you after or get your number, or chit-chatting with you because he's the videographer and he has to be there? Okay. The also thing that I want you to think about too, like, let's say hypothetically he was wearing black because he is single. And let's say hypothetically he's open to being in a relationship and all that stuff, and he would love to explore the new people he meets that he's interested in. Ask yourself another question then. If he's single and ready to mingle, and he's at an event for singles and some couples, but for singles to meet singles, ask yourself, why didn't he follow up with you then, if that's the case? I know it's, the answer might be a little bit painful, but think to yourself, this is the perfect environment and breeding ground for a single person to have a conversation with another single person that they find attractive or interesting, and to get their number, get their contact information, to start up, a little bit of a thing here. So the fact that this perfect environment for him to, go the extra step and say, hey, what's your number? What's your Instagram? Knowing that you're also single and knowing that you're also available or ready to mingle, will probably tell you a lot about where his mind is at. Because it's not like at least maybe from your perspective, you're a little bit unsure. He was working the event. Maybe is he wearing black because he's single or not? He knows you are wearing black because you're single. So he's not confused about that. You're also having a conversation with him. So he's aware that this would be a great opportunity to grab your contact info, even if it's just your Instagram, so that he can continue talking to you. So the fact that he didn't do that makes me question that probably was purposeful. I'm not saying you guys didn't have a great conversation, but I'm just saying if he didn't take that chance there, I question, I fear, as the kids say now, I fear he's not as interested as we're imagining, which is fine, okay? But what I want you to understand, JJ, is if you're noticing a guy's not picking up what you're putting down, don't try and do more to get him to see it. Because once you're already in a place where you start nudging and he's not getting it, you're nudging, he's not getting it, you're going to be in a place where it's just not good. You're either going to start chasing, or you're going to start becoming a little bit more desperate in the way that you approach, because you're like really wanting him to like ask you out or ask for your number. And you'll get to a point where you'll say, damn, when were you going to ask for my number? And I don't, that's cringe. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to talk like that. I don't even want that to be you. Okay. We want guys to approach you because they want you. Let him ask for your number. Let him press you, as the kids like to say. Okay. So leave it where it is. If you see him again, let him come to you even for the first conversation. If you're not noticing him having a desire to start up a conversation with you, leave him be, okay? Leave him be. I would honestly advise you just leave him be. Let's hop into our free section, and we're going to answer some questions here. Got lots and lots and lots to answer here. Let's see. Okay, so I think let me make sure I didn't skip any. Okay, I think I left off here. Right. I got to start marking these. Okay. This one comes from LP Baby. He says, Tomisin, please advise. Hi, Tommy. What is the best way to properly apologize? I'm going to apologize to Mr. Salsa Man in person this week, and I already apologized earlier as well. He reached out to me to apologize to me first and wants to take me out on an activity date. Okay. Oh, you said I already did this one? Why is this marked then? Oh, I should have marked this. I got to start marking them, chat. That's my fault. Let me scroll down and do actually your daddy. Oh, is this the... Okay, I guess this is... I thought the message was delayed. Okay, so this is your question. Pulled back too much. Your daddy says, hi, Thompson. I wrote you a question a few days ago. Well, I'm back with an update. Wait, what? Let me see here. Okay, we'll do this one. It's fine. Hi, Thompson. I wrote you a question a few days ago. Well, I'm back with an update. Just a recap for the ladies. I have a crush on this YouTuber who I would like to have on my channel. So basically, Thompson, immediately after I wrote to you, I had my manager email him for a collaboration, and he said yes, like instantly. Oh yeah, you really wanted him on your show. Okay. Well. Wait, LP Baby says I didn't answer the question. I thought you just said I did answer the question. We kind of got into a contact, and after a few days, I had him come down to a lounge to talk about the whole video process. Eventually, I had to bring him down to my office studio because he wanted to converse with the producers and my team. I was the nonchalant final boss, I'll tell you that. He couldn't tell whatsoever I fancy him in the slightest. Gosh, he's so funny. The banter was up, I'll tell you that. It just gave bestie vibes. I don't know why. What are you saying? You're saying you weren't feeling the same vibes as before? I feel vulnerable sharing these, just hoping he doesn't watch Tomisin's live. I doubt he does. This one in particular. The shoot will be happening a little over a month after. Both are booked and busy. Like I think you may say both of us are booked and busy. So a little after he met me, he did a video with his boys on one of their channels. When I tell you they were on him. What? What? In the video, they said my nickname. They dumb because my subscribers know my nickname. And asked him to tell me how it went. Huh? He says, it's all right. We're just friends. There's nothing, you know. And the boys kept teasing him and saying, nah, we want to know. He kept blushing and said, it's for a collab, guys. Come on. Also, his boys were gassing me so much. This is like a YouTube. We're like in YouTube Inception. The way I and even his viewers discerned it was he probably liked me before this whole thing. He definitely knew me. And he definitely told his boys everything that happened, and they were pretending to ask him just to tease him. He was visibly trying to stop the guys from saying it all. Even though we spoke only about business, I usually can tell when someone fancies me, and yes, he 100% does. I just have many questions, Tomisin. He is a lot more older than me. He's amazing at what he does, and he even inspired me to start mine. He's underrated. I'm a lot more chat. She's also not talking about me for any of you thinking that this is not about me. He's underrated. I'm a lot more younger, started years after him, but my channel is way bigger in numbers. Although he's still a millionaire, and he's got collectively around 5 million subs on all YouTube channels. Who are you? Your daddy? Who are you? Wait a second. Who is this? Wait a chat. Who is this? Like, you just kind of gave away. If this guy has 5 million subs on all his YouTube channels and you're saying your channel is way bigger than his, that means you have over 5 million subs. Who are you? Like, that means you're a really popular YouTuber. Who are you? Like, you might have to reveal yourself in the chat one of these days, because if you have is this the Wizard Liz? Who is this? Who is this? Like, I don't know that many YouTubers that have over 5 million subs. And if you're saying you have more than that, who, like, genuinely, make your guesses. Who do you think this is? Who fits this description? Because if you have over 5 million subs, you're not small. Chat, we might have to do some investigating. Tell me some people you might think this is based on this story. We're gonna investigate you, your daddy. You're not gonna be able to hide for long. I'm not bragging at the slightest. It's a genuine question, and I have no issues with this. But I've heard many relationship online personalities, including Shara, say you being bigger than men in money and success-wise would hurt a man's ego. And I generally don't want to give him or any man that signal or take away from him them for being a man / provider in the relationship. Is this true or not? Yes and no. Someone said, are you Kai Cenat? Like, genuinely, who is this? Like, who is this? Here's the thing. I wonder who the male YouTuber is too, because you're saying, okay, this is interesting. Are you dating Drewski? Here's the thing. For your situation, there's levels, right? So yes, you're successful. You're a millionaire from YouTube as well. That's great. But if you're saying that he's also well into millionaire status as a YouTuber as well, it's less about you being so much better than him and more just like you guys combined are a power couple. Do you know what I mean? Like imagine if Jay-Z was worth like 10 million or $20 million less than Beyonce. Is that really going to change the dynamic of the relationship? Not really. Because like very much the same way that you can take care of him in terms of like you being financially stable, like he can take care of you as well. It's not like, he's struggling for money and the way you would want to live your lifestyle, he wouldn't be able to provide that for you, right? So that's why I'm saying there's levels. Like if you're, the closer you get down to like less money, obviously the discrepancy becomes more. If you're making 200,000 and he's making 20,000, then obviously that difference is the difference between him being able to provide you with any sort of lifestyle versus absolutely not being able to do that, right? But the difference between you being worth, let's say, $10 million and he's only worth $8 million, I'm sure you'll be able to get by in providing for you despite the fact that he's only worth 8 million and you're worth 10. You understand what I'm saying? Someone said probably Chusky. Yeah. Interesting. Tomisin, I think he's all right. He's a bit on the skinny side. I have no problem until it becomes a problem. What do you mean by that? I genuinely don't think he could protect me if he got in a fight. He's a YouTuber. You're not dating a UFC fighter, okay? He's a YouTuber, okay? So just keep that in mind. I always wanted a big boy, tall and robust. Am I wrong for thinking that? No, you're not wrong for thinking that, but I'm not saying dating a YouTuber means you're going to date a guy who's like not in shape, but like you want a well-rounded man, right? There's no problem with that, but you're also dating a YouTuber, right? Not every YouTuber is going to be like super crazy about his health and fitness. It's just the reality. It's just life, to be honest. But if you want a big, tall, robust man, then you have a physical type. There's nothing wrong with that. But then you have to ask yourself, what are what we would call must-haves for you and a man? And what are things that you would like to have, but you're able to work with? So is this a problem to the point where you're unattracted to him? Because it doesn't seem like you're lacking attraction to him. If that's the case, then maybe it's something you can work with. But if you find yourself like dry as a desert when you look at him or you see him with his shirt off or whatever the case, now we have a different problem on your hands. Because you don't want to be forcing a relationship with a man you don't have real physical attraction to, because your everything has to be working right. Your mind has to be there mentally. You have to feel real attraction to him for everything to be getting lubricated and wet properly. If it's not working properly, you're going to be in a very bad position, okay? Who is this YouTuber? Someone said the guy is Hassan Piker. Interesting. I wonder who this YouTuber is. I am someone with the strongest boundaries on earth. I'm not even exaggerating. I get the ick so easily. Okay, so it's not Mr. Beast, guys. The slightest things can lead me to cut people off for just no reason at all. Excuse me. I've had many instances where I randomly be like, I can't do this, and stop talking. Even though I like him, there's a possibility I might do this. But okay. I don't want it to just ruin my chances of business. Him and his boys were people who I grew up watching and greatly admire. Who is this? Him and his boys. Are you dating someone from AMP? Like, are we talking? Wait a second. You're not dating someone from like AMP, because when you're saying like him and his boys, and I'm trying to think of which YouTubers are like in a group. You have AMP. Who else is in a group? I can feel David Dobrik. Oh, no, but he has more than, she said 5 million across all of his YouTube channels. Who are you though? Because you said you have more than him. I wouldn't want a bridge or tension. You get me? I mean, I get it, especially if he's a big YouTuber. Oh, DDG. Huh. We've expanded a lot, chat. Beta Squad, that's possible. I've already worked with many people in his circle. I'm talking major brand deals. You would believe if I said I used to watch these guys since I was like 13. Okay. Now I'm here years later. Yes, God is great, y'all. Okay. So we actually might be talking about someone from Beta Squad. Could be David Dobrik's too big. It doesn't fit the mold. It could be someone from Beta Squad. What's that other one? Sidemen? But KSI, who are the other people in Sidemen? It could be one of those YouTubers. Could be someone from AMP, although I'm pretty sure Kai Cenat's dating like someone who's not that big as you're describing yourself. I don't think it's DDG either. Someone said it's definitely someone from AMP. Possible. Someone says, aren't they supposed to be anonymous? I'm nosy, chat. I'm a nosy guy. Like I said, everyone knows everyone in this space. Words spread like wildfire. Well, clearly I don't know. Like, I'm not sure who you guys. You know me. I don't get to know who you are. You should tell me on the side. I won't tell anyone. You should tell me on the side who you are. Just on the side. on the side, just a little bit on the side. One of the reasons I've been single for this long is because of this. However, he's one of the most genuine and humble people I've ever met. Even my bodyguard likes, okay, who are you? Who are we talking to, chat? Nah, this anonymous thing might have gone too far. Because now we have people who damn near, who big. Like, if you having a bodyguard, you big. Like, you not no small time YouTube. Like you said, you have over 5 million subs. Who are you? Reveal yourself to me, and I won't tell anyone. I promise I won't. You have to. You have to. He's just a sweetheart. Should I further entertain this if he makes the move, knowing that I myself would be the potential reason to make this fail? Well, here's the thing. You'll also have to understand your daddy, right? You have to also understand, like, you're in control here. So I know, like, it's making you a little bit, like, worried that you might self-sabotage, but, like, you're the one in control of your self-sabotage. So, like, I get it. It's something that scares you, but then also ask yourself, in the scenario, like, in which you did that, what would be your reasoning for self-sabotaging? Just because things are going well? That's a you issue, right? It's not something that you can, like, say, how do I prevent this from happening, right? It's really a choice, because you have to ask yourself, why does that happen on a regular basis with any situation that you be in? Also acknowledge, here's the thing too, and I want to point this out to you because this will relate to your special situation. You're a big YouTuber. You have over 5 million subs, okay? You said you're way bigger, so maybe you have 10 million. Who are you? And you're dealing with the situation where obviously, like, being in a relationship for you is not about finding a man who can really provide for you, because the reality of it is you can provide everything you want for yourself. So that's not what you're looking for a relationship for. It's probably also part of the reason why as soon as something gets a little bit difficult with the guy, or you're having problems, or he's not perfect, your response is, I can't do this, because you're in a position where you can say that. Because once you just say, hey, I don't like one thing that's wrong with you that I don't like, that I don't appreciate, I can't do this anymore, because you can then easily go back to a homeostasis where you're taking care of yourself, you give yourself everything you need, and you don't have to worry about dealing with anyone else. Here's the problem though. Even though you can take care of yourself very well and be perfectly fine and happy with that, the reality of it is you want a relationship as well. And relationships, the real life reality of relationships is you're not going to meet someone that is absolutely perfect in every way, shape, or form. I'm not saying you won't be in a happy relationship. I'm just saying even the person that you can be in a happy relationship with will not be a perfect human being. They'll make mistakes. They'll say things wrong sometimes. They'll be cringe sometimes. They'll be awkward sometimes. They won't be absolutely perfect in their aesthetic or their look. It's just not possible. So my fear is that because you can provide yourself with everything you want, your expectation is that the person you're in a relationship with is absolutely perfect and never makes a mistake. And if that guy does make a mistake, your response will be, I can't do this. But that's not how you do relationships, right? Doing relationships and getting into them and being successful in them is about understanding what are the most important elements of a partner that I need to be present in my romantic relationship. And then when I find that in someone, what are the other things that, even though I would like them to be present, are not necessarily deal breakers for me that I can work with? So I'll give you a perfect example of that. Maybe you say, I want someone who's really accountable, that I can hold them accountable and they're able to apologize for their mistakes without me having to pull teeth. Maybe that's something that's a requirement for you. Now, when it comes to something like, oh, yeah, and I would love if that guy is 6'5", and that guy is only 6'1", but you're still shorter than 6'1", and you're well shorter than 6'1", and you can still be in a relationship with a guy who's 6'1", or in this case, maybe a guy who's skinny. But ideally, you would want a big, robust man who can squat 315 pounds, whatever the case may be. But can you work with the guy who's skinnier? Can you work with the guy who's 6'1"? Is that going to be something that prevents you from being attracted to that guy? Though that's the type of thinking process you have to bring to your romantic relationships. It's not about settling. I'm not asking you to settle. I'm asking you to have a realistic conversation with yourself about what's mandatory for a relationship to work for you and what is something that you would like to have, but you can work with even if it's not present, right? That takes some honesty with yourself. That also takes some maturity and understanding you also are not a perfect human being. So the same way someone who meets you and starts dating you is not going to get a perfect human being all put together with no mistakes is the same way you're not necessarily going to get that in someone as well. But the truth of the matter is, when you and the other person really love each other, there should be an embrace of the fact that, hey, you're not perfect, I'm not perfect, but I still embrace you for who you are and I accept you for who you are. I don't need you to be someone different. And then as time goes on in your relationship with that person, if you choose to do the hard thing, which is working through the problems and working through the ebbs and flows of the relationship, even when it's hard, you'll eventually get to a point where you say, yeah, even the ways that they're flawed, or even in the ways that they do things or say things that I don't like, whatever, I just understand that to be them and I don't try to change them because I don't need them to change. Because the most important parts of our relationship that I need are present in our relationship, and I don't bother myself about minute details that aren't gonna affect my happiness. I don't bother myself about what people will describe as the 20%, trying to find this 20% when in reality I have all I need to make a real romantic relationship work for the long term. You know what I mean? And that's not the same thing as settling. So I don't want you to have that in your mind. Okay. Now let's go on to our next question. Reveal yourself to me in a private message. I need you to, because this has gone too far. I'm literally gonna play in my mind who that is and whom that makes sense for, because just who are you? Who are you? Let's hop into our next question. Our next question comes from Lotus. Okay. Strong avoidance of men. Hey, Tommy, I'm 21 and I have absolutely no romantic experience at all. I'm a virgin. I've never been in a relationship, never been on a date, no talking stages, never even held hands romantically. You should probably watch my show before you start going on dates so you know what's going on. Some people might see this as favorable or advantageous, and it's not something I necessarily consider to be a bad thing. However, it's something that makes me feel very anxious when I think of starting to date now as an adult. I've always been was your dad strict? Good strict dad. W strict dad. I've always been a very strong-minded person, never accepting disrespect, looking at situations objectively, and always seeing through BS. You must have had a strict dad. And always prepared to leave if need be. I've had men show me interest before, but almost always for the wrong reasons. Because of this, I feel like... No, I won't say it. Because of this, I've always become quick to reject men. I automatically assume they only view me sexually. Yeah? Okay. A part of this is due to feeling extremely objectified and sexualized by men throughout my life, and especially when I was a minor. Okay. I also have a legit fear of men. Like, no joke, men scare me. Even just walking past men on the street gives me anxiety. I'm so scared of men approaching me, so I make myself appear as unapproachable as possible. Okay, but you also, you do kind of want men to approach you. Not every man, but you do kind of want them to approach you. It doesn't seem like you want to be single forever, right? I know not all men are bad, and I should be giving men the chance to prove their intentions. However, I feel so dehumanized by the lustful men that makes me avoidant of men altogether. Okay, I'm going to make a little bit of an assumption here based on what you're describing, because you're sounding like the men are hypersexualizing you. So I'm curious, and it's not your fault. I'm just curious. Sounds like you have some voluptuous assets to you, that these men seem like their tongues out of their mouth. They're shivering when you walk by, because the way you're describing it here, it's like they can't control you themselves when you're walking by or when you're around. This was making me visualize here. I am also coming to accept that I'm probably asexual/demisexual. You might not know too much about this topic, so to put it simply, I've never experienced sexual attraction to anyone, only romantic attraction, basically wanting all aspects of a committed relationship without sex. However, I don't feel that I'm completely against ever having sex. I feel like there's a chance that I could feel comfortable having sex with my partner, but I know for a fact it would take me double, maybe triple the typical amount of time to get there. I know this would be important to discuss when dating and plan to do very openly. Here's the, what is this? What the heck? What the Eliande? Okay. Let me say something to this here, because this does I want to comment on this. I'm not going to tell you how you're going to feel or should and shouldn't feel. I'll give you some experiences from my own life so that it can just be in the back of your mind, just sit with you for whatever it may be. I have come across people in my own life where when I met them, women, when I met them, they were also not confused. They were also convinced that they were asexual or demisexual or just, like they were convinced that sex for them wasn't an experience that they were going to enjoy as much as other women. That, especially intercourse with the guy, they just couldn't bring themselves to the point where like they would orgasm or they would be like, oh my gosh, sex is the best thing ever. And then we started exploring things. We started having more conversation. We got more open with each other. I started asking them more questions, understanding their mind a little bit more. And then as time went on, long story short, they realized it really wasn't about them not being able to connect with sex or enjoy the experience. It was more about them just not connecting with any of the people in their past. And then when we finally unlocked some things for those women, well, when me and those women finally unlocked some things, they realized they actually do enjoy sex a lot. They can orgasm from sex a lot. And they can even like think of sex in a way that they never thought they would, simply by having a stronger connection and exploring a little bit deeper than what other people were exploring with them. So the reason that I'm giving you that example, and this is like multiple women in my life that I've come across like that. The reason I'm giving you that example is because I just want that to be something that you think about as a possibility when you're going into your relationships. Because I'm telling you, you might not be able to visualize it right now. Like the idea of you think like being like even addicted to sex or loving sex so much that you're thinking about it all the time, right? I don't want to say addicted, but like loving sex so much that you're thinking about it's on your mind. Like you want it with one person, you're looking at someone and like you're just automatically wet. You don't even know what's happening. I know it's very difficult for you to imagine being in that state of mind, but I promise you, for you as a woman, your mental is everything. So when your mental can properly be activated, and it's not going to be every guy that's going to be able to get there with you or get you there, but when your mental can properly be activated, your body will be able to do things and respond in ways that you didn't even think was possible. And the craziest part about it is when that is all working right, you won't even be in control of it. Like it'll just be happening and you'll be in shock yourself that it's happening to you like this. I know it doesn't make any sense, but I promise you it is possible. And I've seen it happen firsthand. Okay. So my fear is that lack of experience will make dating a lot harder and will make me a magnet to manipulative men. I've watched many of your videos and I've learned a lot from them. And a lot of what you teach comes naturally to me. As I mentioned earlier, I believe I'm a pretty observant person and good at seeing men's true intentions. I also could never entertain something like a pen pal situationship. However, I fear my lack of experience will mean I only attract a certain type of man who wants me because of my lack of experience and therefore to be perceived naive, like you're naive. My questions to you are, do you think I'm even ready to start dating? Well, yeah, like you have to start dating to eventually get married. You can't say that you're not ready to start dating because when will you be ready if you never get experience, right? So yes, you're ready. How can I overcome my anxiety surrounding men and their intentions? You have to start by, okay, if men are intimidating to you, especially when you're just on the street or walking by or whatever the case may be, start by meeting men in a group setting. So if you can go somewhere with a group of your girlfriends and, meet another group of guys in a way that's less invasive and less like, hey girl, let me talk to you, that will be the best way for you to ease your way into just having conversations with guys. You know what I mean? It doesn't even have to be, oh, we're having a conversation for us to eventually go on a date. Just ease yourself into getting used to having conversation. And then in some cases, maybe if you actually are a little bit attracted to the guy or you're feeling some vibe there, having a little bit of flirtatious energy in a way that's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very low pressure, meaning that like you're in a group setting, your friends are there, which are going to make you more comfortable. It's not like, hey, I'm just talking to you or we're alone on one side of the party or whatever, one side of the room. It's like, hey, everyone's kind of chit-chatting. We're having our own side conversation. It's very low pressure. You can go to the bathroom whenever you want. You can stop the conversation whenever you want. That's the best way to kind of just get your feet wet and get, yourself being like, okay, Not all men are bad. And sometimes in the right scenario, in the right environment, I'll actually be feeling the vibe of a conversation with the guy, right? Here's the other thing that you can do to make this easier for you. Start by finding out where you can spend places that you would already have some interest in. So, for example, let's just say you enjoy, I don't know, skateboarding, okay? If you can put yourself in a place where you're skateboarding with some friends, now you're already doing a thing that you find interesting. So then if you meet a guy that you find interesting at the skate park, what do you think is an easy conversation for you guys to ease into? Skateboarding. So now you can talk about your wheels, you can talk about trucks, you can talk about doing an ollie, you can talk about doing a kickflip, all this other stuff, which also creates a very low pressure environment where you don't have to think about what to say or what to talk about. You also don't have to talk about how much you like each other or how cute he thinks you are or how cute you think he is. You can just talk about the skateboarding, which is something that you're interested in and have a lot of knowledge in, and something that he's also interested in and has a lot of knowledge in. And you guys can discuss and talk about that while you feel the guy out. That's another piece of advice that I would give you there. As a complete beginner in the world of romance, what must I know to protect myself? That not everyone has your best interest. And the only way to sense if someone truly has your best interest is by allowing time to pass. Because a lot of people will come into your life and tell you that they have your best interest, and then they'll go about doing what's best for them and screwing you. So that's not even a bad thing. You just have to realize that as the truth. And then when you meet people, rather than trying to be so upfront about everything that's with you and tell them everything the first time you meet them and completely believe everything that they say the first time you meet them, I want you to take everything that people you don't know and that you are meeting for the first time say to you, take it with a grain of salt. Meaning, allow yourself to be able to be like, okay, yes, you're saying this to me. Yes, you're saying this is your truth. You're saying this is your story, but I will allow that to be revealed over the course of time. Okay? Does that make sense? Is there a way I can use my lack of experience to my advantage? Yes, and yes, you can. The way that you would use your lack of experience to your advantage is by painting a different narrative about your lack of experience. So what I mean by that is, let's just be real, okay? Let's be real. You being a virgin, in terms of men seeking like a wife, is not a disadvantage from the standpoint of, obviously, if you've had no partners, it makes men feel better about the fact that they'll be your first partner and hopefully your only partner. I would love for you to protect that for as long as you possibly can, because even here's the thing too. You can take advantage of it because now when you say to a guy that you're expecting to only sleep with him or whatever the case may be after marriage, right? It's more understandable and acceptable because men realize if you haven't done it up until this point, there's no like, why all of a sudden would you break it for him? So that's number one. The other way that it can be used as an advantage is if you change the narrative around, hey, I don't have a lot of experience in sex and I'm a virgin because I just, no one's ever liked me. That's not the narrative you want to paint. You want to paint, I'm a virgin, right? And I don't have this experience in terms of sex because I chose not to jump into anything that doesn't make sense for me. And I never will jump into anything just off of being emotional or just saying I like someone and went on one date with them. When you paint that narrative that way, it makes it seem like you're in control of your actions and you've made a choice here, which is a lot more powerful, and it paints a lot better of a picture of you that you're making choices to be a virgin and to not participate in hookup culture because you know that doesn't serve you. It makes it look like you have your head screwed on straight, which is good. It's a great way to present yourself and to let him know that you have boundaries and you stick to those boundaries. That's the way that you can use that to your advantage. Should I be telling men that I've never dated? That I wouldn't add, okay? You can say that you're a virgin. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't want you to be like, I have no experience dating, this and that, da-da-da. Even if some guy asks you specifically about your dating experience, rather than saying, I've never dated anyone, I'd rather you say, I haven't found anyone that I connect with on that level of depth, right? With that level of depth. I'm open to that type of connection, but no one has really settled into me like that, where I'm really like, yes, this is the person I need to be with. That seems more purposeful and intentional than just saying, oh, I've never dated before, I have no experience, I'm very naive, and I just don't know, right? Do you understand? When it comes to setting expectations, how can I do that with no previous partners to talk about, right? So remember how I just said you're painting a picture and a narrative in which I haven't had any previous partners, not because I'm just naive and dumb. I have not found anyone I connect with on that level. That's why I haven't had a serious relationship. It's not that. So here's the thing that you add whenever you're painting this picture, because it's painting a picture. Obviously, men are interested in me. Obviously, guys ask me out on dates. Guys want to get to know me, things like that, right? Which is not a lie. You mentioned it earlier. Guys are attracted to you. They're asking you questions. They want to get to know you for whatever reason, right? They're on your body. It's not like guys aren't on your body. But for you, you haven't found someone that you personally connect with, which is a totally different story, right? It means you're a desirable woman, but for you, not every man is going to be desirable to you, which is perfectly fine. And then all you have to do is build your foundation off of that narrative. There's nothing more to ask after you paint that picture, because that's fair. If he sees you and he thinks you're desirable as well, right? And he sees or believes in the idea that men would desire you, and then you're painting this picture that men do desire me, I just haven't found anyone that I connect with. What is he going to say to that? Oh, you're a bad person. You're naive. You're stupid. You're dumb for not connecting with any. If you don't connect with people, then you don't connect with people. There's nothing wrong with that. And you also have to approach it as that, because right now you're thinking in your mind, oh, there's something wrong with me because I haven't found anyone that I connect with, but there's not, right? When you find that person, you'll know. And you'll be sure of it, and then you'll have a good relationship with that person. So you also have to have that confidence in your approach and the way that you paint that picture, where it's not about, oh, I'm so bad, or no one desires me, or I'm naive, or I'm dumb. It's about the fact that when I find that connection, I will feel it, I'll know it's there, and that's when things will escalate or lead to the next step. I haven't had sex because I haven't found that connection, right? And it's not because I'm desperate for it or any case, or no men want me. The men obviously want me. They ask me out. But if I don't feel that connection towards that person, then I'm not going to do something that doesn't make sense for me. Do you see how when you paint it a different way and you shift the narrative, it becomes something where I'm in control of my actions, and this is the way that it is because I chose it to be like that, versus, hey, I'm not in control of my actions and it's just an accident that it's like this, and I'm only a virgin because no one wants me, right? You don't want to paint that picture, or because no one's asked me out on a date. You don't want to paint that picture, okay? Let's hop into our next question here. I think LB Baby said that I skipped hers. It was like pregunte. Oh, why did that not interesting. All right. Pregunta. Hola, Thompson. You mentioned shy, quiet guys can waste our time even more than the players. Why is that? I ask this because the new guy, Mr. Spicy Salsa Man I'm dating, is very charismatic / social. I'm not jealous nor anxious. Thank you, Tommy. But that's because he is not my boyfriend yet, and we haven't kissed. You haven't kissed? Or had pineapples, so I'm not superly emotionally attached. I compare this with my shy, Baha'i crusty soy boy gamer ex. We slept together by month 2. I know this was a different era. Who kept his ex-girlfriend close and close female friends around that literally drove me insane. I didn't know any better. So, as I currently date this straight man full of jizz, okay? Sorry, I mean full of riz. Okay. We went out one weekend evening for a dance class, followed by dinner, then back for a social dancing afterwards, and he expressed that because salsa bachata is a social dance, we should dance with other partners to learn more moves, and I said okay. I wasn't jealous though. It's something I have to understand, that he is going to want to dance with other women, and I have to be honest with myself and ask myself if I'm fine with that. So far I am, but I need your practical, level-headed perspective on this, as I am aware I am fiery, jealous, territorial woman. I understand being Latina and a fire sign and slightly unhinged doesn't help. My questions I would like for you to address. Why shy guys / soy boys is the worst waste of women's time, as much as if not worse than the social charismatic men. If a guy is friendly / social, charming, charismatic, how friendly is too friendly for a guy? What is a normal amount of friendliness opposed to the shy guy? So the reason that I say the shy guy is the worst type of man for you to date is because in order for you to even date that type of man, you have to take on the masculine role in terms of pushing and progressing the relationship forward. That's why I say it's a waste of your time, because after you do all the work of pushing and progressing the relationship forward, you realize that in 6 months, in 1 year's time, he could turn around and say, I only did this because that was what you wanted, not because that's what I wanted. And I just went along with it because I didn't want to disappoint you or make you upset. And I've seen that happen to a lot of women, right? They'll progress the relationship forward. They'll be like, I want us to get married. I want us to do this. I want us to date. I want us to go here. I want us to live together. And the guy will just be like, yeah, me too, me too, me too, me too. And he won't actually be speaking towards what he really desires. And then the woman will be in a position where she'll be thinking he actually wants those things, only to realize down the line where he just wakes up one day and says, yeah, by the way, this isn't going to work. Then she realizes he never actually wanted those things. He was just going along with what she wanted. And I know it sounds very much like, well, why wouldn't someone speak up for themselves? Why wouldn't they just say that they don't want that? Some guys aren't built like that. I'll just be honest with you. Some guys aren't built to speak up for their real, honest desires. Some guys spend majority of their life just doing what other people tell them to. Then when they get into a relationship, they fall into one because they're just like, oh, it seems like she wants this, seems like she wants that, and I'm too shy to really tell her how I feel or be honest about how I feel or to think about how I feel. So I'll just go along with it, right? It's the same type of personality. I don't know if any of you have this personality. It's the same type of personality where, like, let's say you're in a restaurant or whatever the case may be, and you order something, and then the waiter comes with a different order that's literally not what you ordered, and you know, the certain types of personalities will be too shy to speak up for the fact that they got the wrong order because they don't want to create like an awkward scenario. You understand what I'm saying? That same type of personality in a man is the type of man you don't want to date, because those are the type of men that will keep it hidden, what they really feel and really desire, and they won't tell you until you've wasted a lot of time. Okay. How to handle my jealous, territorial, insecure emotions, because I have a feeling they will start brewing up and come to the surface at some point, and I don't want to let my emotions get the best of me. So what you're referring to in terms of him dancing with other guys, you have to just be honest with yourself, because what you're discussing is not as big a deal as you're imagining. If he wants to dance with other partners and, you know, you get to dance with other partners and you don't have a problem with it and you're actually cool with it, then cool, be cool with it, and then everything's fine. But if you get to a point where you're like, this is not cool with me, then simply have a conversation with him beforehand and let him know, look, I know you talked about dancing with other partners, but it makes me uncomfortable, and I just would rather avoid a situation like that than for us to be dancing with other partners. And then if this guy wants you and he wants to be with you, there shouldn't be any issues there. Because I think right now he's operating off the fact that you said it's cool and you're cool with it and everything's cool. But obviously, if you guys start dating and it starts to bother you, just speak up about it. And I don't think it should be continuously an issue. If his response to you saying that is, hey, I really want to dance with other girls, I need to dance with other girls, it's a must do, then you say, oh, okay, perfectly fine then. Have it your way. And then you might have to make some adjustments, or that might not be your guy. You know what I mean? Because a response to, hey, I need to dance with other women for me to feel the whole experience of bachata, that's weird and strange, okay? I need to get a handle on my emotions and need your advice for this so I can become more of a classy woman with self-respect and love, okay? Then you say, I'm not jealous or anxious because I've been doing this the work, but I also know I'm prone to feeling jealousy, insecurity, anxiety, recall the anxious attached. Are there exceptions to marathon dates? The reason I ask this is because I went on 2 5-hour-long dates with this new guy. Please take a deep breath. Let me explain myself. Because the date consisted of an hour-long dance class followed by social dancing until midnight, and he kept spilling the beans on his trauma and past relationship, so the tea was good, and I felt like I needed to extract the info. After the dance class, he took me out to a fancy dinner nearby, and we went to go practice some more dancing and had more conversation until the event ended at midnight. He tried to kiss me on the mouth again, but I didn't let him because he asked me to be exclusive, so we compromised on him kissing me on the forehead, face, and cheek. Please let me know your thoughts on marathon dates, which was 5 hours. I have a feeling this is okay because we're both adults and we couldn't really talk as much because of the loud music and because we were dancing. But still, please let me know your opinion. Are there exceptions to marathon dates? Recall, we are dating for 3 months and he has asked me to be his girlfriend 2 times already. Once when he was drunk, which that doesn't count, and once sober, but it would need to be a long distance relationship. What? Okay, all right, I'm not sure what okay, what? Okay, aside from that, if you guys have been dating for 3 months, I'm not gonna say you're a bad person for going on a single 5-hour date with him. However, what we're not gonna do is we're not gonna turn every date into a marathon date. I know you've been dating him and pretty consistently for 3 months, so I understand why in certain situations the date will go longer than usual. I just don't want that to become a pattern where every date now is 8 hours long. Okay, so majority of your dates should still be within that 2-hour mark, because what do we want? We want more dates over the course of time, not less dates and then the dates are happening less frequently because they're lasting 10 hours. Do you understand what I'm saying? So cool, you had one, but this shouldn't be a regular thing. So figure out how it's not going to be a regular thing. Your perspective on long distance relationships. I need a very sobering talk about this. I watched your show on tips to maintain a long distance relationship. It's good to show. It's a good show, and I agree, maintaining a long-distance relationship is a lot of work. I like more reasons why long-distance relationships are a terrible idea. Yes, verbal spanking, please. I don't have details on a long-distance relationship, but I'm just curious to hear all the bad reasons why to avoid. Like, out your dad hat on this general question. Oh, when he moves across the country, he can't travel to me. Please advise. On how to apologize properly. There's a lot of questions here. Okay, so let's try and okay, so this long distance relationship thing, the reason I say that long distance relationships are not good is because it's very hard to build a relationship through distance. So I'm not sure exactly what your situation is, because you guys were together in a similar area. I'm assuming now you're saying he's moving away. If he's moving away and there's no path forward to you guys being together once again, that is basically pointless. I'll just be honest with you. Basically pointless. The reason I say that it's pointless is because if he's moving away and you guys don't have any path forward to being together again, that means you guys are going to be distant for an undefined amount of time. That is not sustainable, because let's say you've built a relationship with someone and then they go to a different city for work or for school or whatever, and then there's going to be a point in which you guys are in the same city again or together again. Then that's workable, because then you're long distance for a specific period of time and then you return back to distance. There's a path forward, right? You guys know the light at the end of the tunnel. Whereas if you're long distance and you're saying to yourself, I'm not moving to where he's moving to, and he's not going to move back to where I'm at, what are we doing here? Because you can't just have long distance with no end goal of how to create it to be no longer long distance. And if that's the case, trust me, very quickly you'll realize that it's just a pointless activity, because you'll be there calling him, FaceTiming him, realizing you're not going to see him for many months. And after a while, you'll just be like, I'm still calling, I'm still FaceTiming, I never see you, we never go out on dates. What's the point of this? And you'll start asking yourself questions like, when you start meeting new guys, or some guys come up to you and they ask you out and you think they're interesting, you'll start asking yourself a really important question. Why am I holding out on a guy that I never see and I'm probably not going to see for a long time? And I know it sucks, because you might like the guy and you guys had a great bond and all that other stuff, but love is also about logistics. And if there's no logistic way for you guys to ever be together again, like in the same city or close by, what's really the point of dating the person, right? Because I think in your specific situation, the guy that you're seeing is planning on moving to Canada or Mexico or one of the two. If you're not planning on moving to Canada or Mexico, just wish him bye-bye. There's just no point. Like, there's no path forward. You're going to forever just be, you're in wherever you're at, and then he's in Canada or Mexico. I don't understand. How are you going to build a relationship off of that forever? Regarding my last Discord question, may you please advise on how to apologize properly so it resonates with straight masculine men? Seeing as you're a straight masculine man, I apologized and told him I'll make it up to him. But any tips? If you told him you'll make it up to him, then obviously follow through with that. But the best apology is showing him that you actually acknowledge that you did something wrong. So taking accountability and acknowledge what you did wrong, why it was wrong. And then also saying how he is justified in being upset by what you did because you would feel the same way if you were in his shoes. That is all you really need. Now, I would also advise for that conversation to be in person because it's always more impactful. So what I'll say to you, LP baby, the same way you would address him seriously and very sternly if he had done something that you really didn't like or appreciate and you were trying to like scold him for it or whatever the case may be, the same seriousness you would bring to that conversation is the same seriousness that I want you to bring to your apology. In sitting him down, saying, we need to talk, and I specifically want to address the thing that I did. This is why it was bad. I shouldn't have done it. I understand why you're upset. And in the future, my adjustment will be blank, 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 blank. Right? That's how you approach something to make a guy feel like, okay, you really are taking accountability for that, right? To clarify for the chat, no, we have not kissed because I'm scared. My Squirtle has evolved into a Blastoise. I'm not that well versed in Pokemon. The evolved form of the Squirtle. Basically, that means I get super soaked when I think of him and he lightly touches me. Look at a picture of the Blastoise between my legs. I'm scared that I will fold. Is it fine to sleep with him before he leaves? LOL, be honest. No. The reason I'll say that is because if you guys aren't going to be really in a relationship after he leaves, don't waste time. Like, don't waste this. I know it sucks, but like if you guys aren't going to do the long distance for real, or you don't see it working, why end it off by sleeping with him and then being like in an emotional state where now you're super attached to a guy you're not going to be with? It just doesn't make sense. This is okay. Yeah, hope that helps. Let's hop into our next question here. Okay. Oh, this one was deleted. This is your daddy again. Your daddy. You better reveal yourself, your daddy. Okay. We're going to save your other question here, your daddy, because we want to give other people a chance to ask their question. Okay. This one comes from Princess in 4D. Okay. Do we get a... Okay. This is from Princess in 4D. She says, are we allowed to offer suggestions for dates? For instance, can we send cool activities videos from TikTok that we like to do, but still allow him to plan it? You can 100% do that, right? You're sending something, you can send him something and be like, oh my gosh, this place would be so cool to go to. Oh my gosh, like this place looks so dope, whatever the case may be, and just send it to him casually. Like you don't have to make it a big thing like, hey, please take me out to this place, right? But giving him things that you enjoy will also help him have some more ideas of places. I don't think that it's a bad thing. Here's my caveat, Princess in 4D. If you've been dating that man for a couple of months, it's not a bad thing. I just don't want you doing that for a guy who's never even asked you out on a date. Okay, that's the only caveat that I'll say to that, right? A guy who hasn't even asked you out on a single date, sending him date ideas, pointless. Don't do that. Do it only with the man who's already shown a desire to take you out on dates as other places that he could take you or things that you could do, okay? I just noticed that the guy I'm dating always does dinner dates. I'm not complaining about the dinner dates, but I think we thrive by doing some fun things too. Yes, then you're in the perfect scenario in which sending him a TikTok or an IG reel or whatever about different places that you think are interesting. You don't have to say, take me there, just different places that you think are super interesting or whatever. Let him then follow the lead of being like, not follow the lead, but like let him then put two and two together of being like, oh, you think that place is interesting? Would you like for us to go there? Maybe next week or the next time we go out? Oh, yes, that's such a great idea. I would have never thought of that if you wouldn't have asked, right? Just let it be like that. Also, what if we are talking? What? Also, what if the guy we are talking to takes hours to respond? Not a big deal. Like 4 to 5 hours, not a big deal. Is he asking you out on dates? If the answer is yes, don't worry about it. Do we then in turn take multiple hours as well? No. All you need to be focused on is being present in whatever it is you're doing and respond when you have time. Don't be overly concerned with how long it's been since you last texted or he last texted. If you happen to have time and you can respond, then respond. If you don't and you're busy and you're doing something, then focus on what you're doing. By the time you have an equilibrium of having a life and responding when you have time and focusing and being present on the things that you're doing, whether you're out with friends, you're with family, you're reading a book, whatever it is that you're doing, I promise you the ebbs and flows will work out perfectly. You won't need to worry about how long it's been since you're responding. I just don't want you guys to be so overly focused on text, because that is a game. If you're thinking, oh, it's been 4 to 5 hours since he responded, so now I'm going to make sure I do, like, just live your life. If you can respond and you have time, respond. If you're doing something, then do something. Don't overcomplicate it. I promise you, you don't have to put that much energy into texting, especially if he's asking you out on dates. Do you understand what I'm saying? The same way he's not texting you because he's at work and he's doing things, you don't text him because you're at work or you're hanging out or you're doing whatever you want to be doing with your life, okay? That's all you need to do. I asked because if we were both taking hours to respond, wouldn't we just barely talk to each other? If he is setting up dates, that's good. But if he is not, do you recommend cutting him off? If a guy is not speaking to you and not setting up dates, what are you guys doing there? Right? Like, this, obviously I'm making the assumption that he doesn't text you back every 5 minutes, but he's also asking you out on dates. So, it's not like the texting is make or break the relationship. This isn't regard to my current situation. I'm just curious. Yeah, I wouldn't be overly worried about how long a guy is taking to message you, because what are your options here? Tell him to message you more frequently. The reality of it is guys will message you as frequently as they feel like. Even if you try to prompt him to message you more than regular, especially at the beginning, he might do that for a little bit, and then he'll just revert back to doing what he's been doing. So that, like, there's just really no point, right? You're just best allowing yourself to observe how frequently he decides he wants to talk to you. And if it's so infrequent that you're like, I can't work with this, then don't be with that guy. Do you understand what I'm saying, right? Be with a guy that actually has the pace that you can work with. Let's go on to our, oops, I'm in the premium section. Let's go on to our next question here. Okay. This one comes, we already did one from LP. Why are these looking like that? We already did one from LP Baby Us at the Canada flag. So we'll skip these ones for now. Let's see this one. This one is by 3. Is he worth it? Hey, Tomisin, so a while back, I submitted a story and you read it on one of your YouTube videos, and I was telling you how I was interested in a rapper, oh boy, and you went on a whole spill about it. I took your advice and left it alone, and now we're here. I talked to a psychic last year, and she told me that I would probably meet someone in February of this year, and I did. Now, he is not new to me because we grew up together, but we have recently rediscovered each other because we are coworkers. Okay. Now, I know you hate coworker relationships, but I really like him. It's not that coworkers are bad people. I just don't like them because I don't like how it doesn't allow you to set boundaries. Because the reality of it is, when you start dating someone, you're going to have that first big fight. And when you have that first big fight, or he either does something that you don't like or says something that you don't like, you need to be able to have the space to withdraw. The problem with the coworker relationship is when you want to withdraw from a man that you're seeing at work, is that when he does something wrong, your withdrawal is supposed to motivate him to apologize, take accountability, and make a change. When you're seeing him at work, what he can do is he can circumvent apologizing and making a change or adjustment, because then he can just go see you at your work desk and he can force you basically to speak to him, whether it be because you have to work with him and collaborate him to get work done, or because he knows that if you ignore him at work, you'll make the work environment so awkward because everyone will be like, well, why are you ignoring him, right? When he asked you a direct question. And guys know that. So I've seen it a lot of times where when they get into a situation like this and they see you withdrawing or trying to set a boundary, they'll basically push the envelope by putting you in a situation where you can't ignore them, you can't withdraw, and then when you're forced to talk to them and respond to them, they'll basically then take that, and instead of apologizing or addressing the situation that needed to be addressed, they'll then be like, just go right from, or resume the relationship right from there. That's why I don't like that. Right? He has been very respectful and has took me on dates to a restaurant and made sure to keep it under 2 hours. The problem is I plan to go off to college as we are seniors, and I thought, why not take the relationship advice from the best relationship guru, Tomisin? Clap it up for him. Oh, I thought you, never mind. Clap it up for him, everyone, because he does his job well. Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyways, the college I am planning to go to is 5 hours away from home. He plans to stay in our hometown and to work at a decently paying job, not the current job that we have now. He is really kind and we're both Capricorns, but I'm unsure of what to do because I feel like him not going to college might hinder his ability to get a good job in the future. We are not currently dating, but he has expressed to me that he wants to be more than friends, and we have had a conversation about me going to college, and he says he doesn't mind because we both like our alone time. That doesn't sound like a thriving situation there. And he could hang out when I visit him, when I visit home, or he would come up to see me. In your college dorm, it's not as comfortable as you're thinking. He also stated we could see how we feel about the relationship after college. We'll see, right? Before you ask, I want to be a lawyer, and he wants to eventually be a cook. Okay, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You want my advice, though? I would advise you to just let this go. Let me explain to you why. I'm not trying to be a mean person. I'm going to explain to you why. You're planning on being a lawyer, right? You're obviously going to want to be successful in your field. You go to school, you go through your bar exam and everything, and you start working as a lawyer. There's a high chance you're going to meet some very powerful people and some very powerful lawyers, okay? And just people in general. Here's the thing about that. When you become a lawyer, and you start meeting these different powerful men, and you're saying right now already that you're worried that what this guy is doing is not going to get him a good job or make him be able to be in like a really good position. My fear is that you'll eventually get to a place where maybe you are dating him and you guys are together. And then your life, literally your work, your job is surrounded by all of these powerful men who some of which might also be attracted to you, be asking you out on dates, asking you to lunch, and all this other stuff. Now we have a problem because you're dating this guy and you like him, you feel attachment to him, but he's not what you're looking for in terms of like, let's just say, being able to take care of business. And you're meeting a lot of men and around a lot of men who know how to take care of business. That's going to weigh on your mind a lot as time goes on. And you're going to start to feel conflicted because you're going to start to become attracted to guys who can take care of business, especially if you feel like he's not. I'm not saying that he can't make money as a cook. If he's a chef, I'm sure he can make good money. But if you're already anticipating that he's not in a place where he'll be able to be there eventually, I'm worried because you as a lawyer, you're going to meet powerful people. So that's not even going to be maybe type of thing. And if you're meeting powerful people, how is that going to play a role in your relationship when the guys you're around all the time are so much more than your man? I'm just being honest with you. It's gonna weigh on you a lot. I know you said also said long distance isn't good, so I'm kind of torn. We're also going to prom together, which should be fun, but I feel. How old are you? What? Which should be fun, but I also feel that he is very flirty as he flirts with my best friends sometimes, but I'm not sure. What? What do you mean he flirts with her sometimes? What? But I'm not sure if that's because we talk over text a lot. What does talking over text a lot have to do with him flirting with your best? What? Sorry, I don't want to get distracted here. Which you said not to do, but it's hard. It's so hard not to. Okay. So we met in person. When we met in person or at work, we kind of don't know how to act towards each other. So he talks to my best friend as a distraction. What the hell? But we eventually warm up to each other and start talking. And we sort of do this flirt talk thing. What? I'm kind of concerned that he is flirting with my best friend because she's expressed that she finds him attractive. But states she would never. Yeah. Previously, everyone thought they liked each other, which is throwing me off. So my question is, what do you think I should do? Okay, you're done with this. You're done with this guy. You're done with the situation. Cool, whatever. The next couple of weeks that you're at this job before you go to school, cool. You can go on some more dates with him, whatever. If you want to pass time, he wants to take you out to lunch, whatever. But it's gonna be done. Okay. When you go to let it be known between you and him. When you go to college, it's done. Okay, it's done. I want you to free your mind of it. I want his mind to be free of it. Let him flirt with your best friend if he wants to. This is a waste of your time. You're going to prom. I'm assuming you tricked me because I read your question. If you're under 20, I wasn't going to read your question. But you're going to prom with a guy. Enjoy your prom and understand after prom it's done. Because you're young, you have a lot to look forward to. You're planning on being a lawyer. You're going to university or college. And you're going to meet lots of different people. There's lots of things you're going to experience. Just go in there single. Don't be worried about this situation. I don't even think it serves you. And I don't even think I think down the road, even if he wanted to date you, I just don't think he would be your guy for where you're trying to go in your life. I think I would rather you focus on your career. You're going to college to eventually have your career. Because I promise you, in your career, in your line of work, you're going to meet so many people. You have to think about what your world, being a lawyer, you really think about what your world is. Your world, you're surrounded by other lawyers, some of whom are really powerful, really successful. You're also going to be surrounded by not even just established lawyers, by young lawyers that went to prestigious schools and things. You're going to meet some of these people. You're also going to meet a lot of powerful people because whether you're working for, in the government side, right, you're prosecuting, you're going to meet a lot of powerful people, right, in the government and in the prosecution office. Or you're going to meet people on the opposite side of the fence, right? You're going to meet if you're doing a lot of defense, right, a defense practice, and you're defending a lot of successful clients, or you're working for a firm that works for a lot of successful clients, you're going to meet a lot of powerful people who are also connected to more people who are also going to be more powerful. You're also going to meet a lot of judges. So I just want you to realize there's so many people that are going to you're going to be connected to in your future, a lot of which will have a lot to offer you. And I just want to point that out to you because the possibilities for you in your line of work are really endless. I would love for you to be free of this situation that honestly, I don't think it serves you. And I don't think really it's going to be anything that even will serve you in the future. I would love for you to be free of this so that if you do end up being in a situation where you see a guy or you meet a guy that, has a lot of these qualities that you want, you'll be free to be able to meet him and talk to him and have conversation with him instead of having this weighing on your mind. Because as a lawyer, you're going to meet a lot of powerful people, a lot. Okay. All right. Don't waste any more of your time. All right, chat. That's the show for today. For those of you who have questions, damn, that glare. For those of you who have questions for me, whether it is a question in the free section, a question in the premium section, a question that's private that you want to send in to me, feel free to do all of those. Those links are available through the link in my bio if you're watching this on TikTok, or in my description if you're watching this on YouTube. For those of you who want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just above my head on the top left corner of the screen. Just type in my name, Tomisin_Tub, and you'll find it there. For those of you who are watching the show from TikTok and you came late or you missed some parts, you want to rewatch it, just go over to my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Tomisin, Tomisin, and then you'll find my YouTube channel. Go into the live section. You'll see this live stream and all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. And you'll have the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded in the video so you won't miss a second of any conversation. Okay? Also, for those of you who want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is also in the link in my description on YouTube as well, if you go down to the bottom. All right, I'm here every Monday and Thursday, so until we meet again on Thursday, I'll bid you adieu. That's the next time I'll be live, but I will be posting on YouTube before then. So until we meet again, hasta la vista, sayonara, adios, ciao, salam, arrivederci, did I say them all? Hasta la vista, I think I already said that one. Baoni, bon voyage! And I'll see you again on Thursday, okay? Very soon, succession. Lots of things I'm working on in the background. You'll see them soon, okay? I'll see you again later. I feel like Superman now. I wear glasses and then I take them off sometimes, vibes. I'll see you on Thursday. I love you so much. I love you.